right now.
All right, me too.
I just got a weird noise. Why did that make a noise like that?
Are you going to introduce or?
All right, well, welcome everybody. We're currently live streaming. This is Andy Modell over with the Card Guys.
Hello.
Yeah, in here we got Alex, we got Josh, and we've got Kyle.
I'm just in the background today, but yes, you got me on there as well. Appreciate you wanting to do this with us. This is going to be a fun 4 matches tonight. Like I said, I'm Kyle. We got Alex, Josh, and Andy with us over here on the stream. It's going to be the Card Guys versus the Hyperloops. Week 3, games 1 through 4 tonight. It's going to be a good time nonetheless. So I'm going to mute up and let you guys take it away, have fun, do your thing.
All right, thank you, Kyle.
Well, as Andy was saying, this is actually a little bit more interesting of a match, in my opinion, than what we're used to seeing in the format. We got Viserai versus Lexi. Depending on which version of Lexi CJ decides to go with, this could actually be a little more difficult of a match for Viserai, which Viserai does not have very many quote-unquote difficult matches in the format. Starvo being one of the more difficult ones, obviously, because that's everybody's most difficult match. But Lexi can be built a couple of different ways, either very, very, very fast, or a little bit more mid-rangey with an ice and lightning mix. So we'll see what CJ decides to do and how Nathan decides to react to that, if he's going to try to tempo into it, or sit back and play the typical game plan, which is try to build up a bunch of rune chance and kill your opponent in 1 turn. So.
Yeah, that's right. Lexi, you don't really know what you're facing with Lexi until the game has already started. So you have to be able to really pivot during the game if you are going to try to store up those rune chants against an ice build or try to race the lightning.
Yep, and if I had to guess off the bat based off of his equipment suite, I would say that he's playing a faster build, which if he's playing a super aggro build with less ice cards, I think that's actually going to favor Nathan in this matchup, whereas if he has a lot more disruption, I think that's going to be a little better for CJ, the Lexi player, in that sense.
Yeah, I concur.
The lightning surge tells us everything we need to know there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just being that pitched.
Yeah, looks like he's probably going to go a little faster. Snapdragon by Bullseye Bracers, Lightning Surge.
What do Ice Lexis run in their arm slot?
Do
they run Shock Charmers?
Shock Charmers, I believe, to produce more Frostbites.
Right.
The Shock Charmers are quite good.
Allows you to get off that 3rd or 4th arrow.
Right, exactly.
On a big turn.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yep, and it's over here we see on the turn 1, it looks like Viserai, Nathan over here, built up some rune chants, and CJ decided to put one of those Bolton shots in Arsenal on the opponent's turn. That's one of the nice things about Voltaire and the new bows, is you can really load up if you go second on the first player's turn.
Yep, absolutely. It is I don't even know, are they choosing to go second right now, or because of that? I haven't played much Lexi myself, so I'm not sure. Are they actually choosing to go second, or?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure myself. I don't know. I didn't see the die roll happen over here.
Also, did Lexi forget his first?
That's why I say you need to verbalize the phases of the game.
Yep.
Tip number 18 of this week's FAB 201. If you guys haven't seen it.
If you guys haven't watched Josh's video on how to play like a pro, definitely go check that out. A lot of good things that'll help you guys stay focused and not miss your triggers in games and play more efficiently. So you'll see here, Nathan actually kept a card in hand and used his armor to block there, which says to me that card in his hand is quite important. It could be like a Mordred Tide or another Sonata or something like that, because I think he actually just blocked with a Sonata there too, didn't he?
I believe so.
So definitely want to keep those around in the deck. Kind of need those to win. We've got a Pulse of Volthaven coming out of the arsenal there, which, if you guys don't know, triggers both of Lexi's abilities. So Nathan will get a Frostbite, and CJ will get Go Again on his first attack, which means this Bolt and Shot is going to come in for some big-time damage and have its effect live.
Yep. 8 on hit reload.
Yep.
The reload is not that impactful here because Lexi still has 2 uses of Voltaire, but that does save 1 energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And also it triggers Bolt and Shot's ability for Go Again, I believe, naturally, instead of having to use Voltaire to buff it up to get that ability.
When I see Bolt and Shot face up in the arsenal at the beginning of the turn, you know Voltaire isn't buffing it up. So being able to see something like the Pult of to give it that Go Again is really the best way to knock it out. Also, someone in my stream chat has suggested that you guys make sure you switch your color to gray on TTS so you don't accidentally hit anything while you're broadcasting. Just a reminder to everyone viewing, thanks for watching. We are broadcasting on both the Card Guyz YouTube channel and the Andy Modell TCG YouTube channel. So both of us have links to the others in each other's descriptions.
Absolutely. And if you aren't subscribed to one or the other, make sure you do that. Like the video, help it broadcast to more people as we're streaming here. The 4 matches tonight are going to be world-class players. Nathan being one of the highest placing Viserai players. Actually, he was the highest placing Viserai player at the Calling at Indianapolis, and CJ, I believe, I don't know much about the Hyperloops roster. Do you know anything about CJ and the Hyperloops, Andy?
You know, I'm embarrassed to say that I'm actually not that close with CJ. I don't know too many of his accolades off the top of my head. But today we definitely have some strong action-packed competitors on both sides. With later tonight, a game with Cody Williams currently ranked number 4 in ELO in the world.
That's amazing. I believe Nam's got to take on Cody tonight, so that'll be a really good match. Calling champion versus number 4 ELO in the world. That's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I'm very excited for those. It's nice we were able to get all of these all in a row tonight. It's always fun to have them back to back, not just for us, but also for the viewers, so we can have one of these long marathon streams.
Absolutely. And there is a 3 of a kind live at the moment, so this is going to be one of those turns that Nathan's going to need to survive. It's just a lot of cards he's going to have to deal with. This Endless Arrow representing even more damage and card efficiency. So also having to deal with a Frostbite on his turn if there's anything that he decides he wants to do. I believe he took like 4 damage or so off that last attack, meaning that the cards in his hand he does want to save, or he's thinking that there's something more important later on in the chain that he's going to need to block, like an Endless Arrows like this. So we'll see what he decides to do with those last 3 cards in his hand. I'm also interested to see if he put in any of the bigger defense reactions. I doubt it, but there usually are some unmovables in the sideboard for the Starvo match. I don't believe he would bring those in this matchup, but there's also a possibility that he does. So be curious to see if he makes any decision like that.
Yeah, Lexi can bump up her attacks pretty high, so the defense reactions can come useful if you're trying to fatigue. On the other hand, if you're racing, it's really not as big of a concern.
For sure. I don't think Viserai is ever going to try to race through a bunch of Frostbites and Lightning cards. Most of the aggro matchups they try to OTK, I believe.
That sounds right.
In general, I think defense reactions against Lexi is a pretty big gamble.
Yeah.
Because a single Frostbite token actually messes up a lot of the defense reactions efficiency. It makes Sink Below and Fate Foreseen cost a card. It makes Unmovable cost 2 cards. So it's really I don't think defense reactions are where you want to be.
I agree. What do you think, Josh? You know Nathan better than anybody in here.
Except for Reduced to Rune Chant, because
well, of course, that one's free. That one's free no matter what.
Infinitely.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what do you think about Nathan? He's usually pretty conservative with his armor. What do you think about the armor usage on that turn? What do you think that tells us about his hand?
I'm still not sure which strategy he's going for here. Whether he's playing OTK or...
Well, this should give you a better idea.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like he's going for OTK here.
Grab a red, read the runes here, gets 7 more, I believe, or 6 more, I mean, and go up to 12.
So he's already, a good portion of the way there. considering Lexi is one of the more fragile heroes in the game, I think
Oh,
he could go off. He could go off at about 16 to 18 and be totally fine.
Absolutely.
Against the more friggy heroes, you typically want 20 to 24.
Yep.
So he's already a decently. He's already a good ways there.
What do you think about a snatch with the lightning press showing?
You know, a snatch go again with that on hit available. This is actually quite threatening.
Definitely a tricky one to try to block here, because not really much you can do to stop some of the damage here unless you're just trying to give them your entire hand, and then you could get punished further by the Snapdragon Scalers into several more attacks. So you got to be real careful how you block this. I'm usually a fan of putting if you have one armor block, this is usually a card I would use it on, even though the lightning press is going to come out. Usually I give them like one card plus the last block on the skull cap here, force the use of the lightning press, and then see how they play the rest of their turn, so that you have 3 cards left to block with for the rest of their turn.
I agree that forcing the lightning press to be used early is better here.
Yep. That way you don't have to worry about it on some further shenanigans down the line. But snatch with go again is quite good.
The question here is, I think Nathan has to take a turn off to set up another rune chant generation, and then it's going to be another X amount of turns before he can find his combo piece. So this, I mean, I feel like, even though he has 12 rune chants already, like he has no arsenal, he's playing blind off the top of his deck. So
yeah,
this is not a comfortable position at all.
Yeah, that turn with the Mordred Tide, I feel like he was really holding back for it. And while it did prove worth it, it got him a lot of rune chants. He did end up using a lot of his equipment pretty early, it felt.
Looks like he's opting for the strategy we were talking about, forcing the lightning press. There's nothing you can do about it, really. If you overblock, you get punished. If you underblock, you get punished. So block efficiently and make him make the play. But what I was going to say while y'all were talking about like how, like, you know, kind of the comfortability of the position, when you're playing against aggro matchups like this, as a Viserai match, it always feels like there's not a lot your opponent can do unless they really threaten you big every turn. If Lexi ever has an off turn, it's just devastating, because if he has some rune chant generation plus arsenal or whatever at this point in the game, he's at 26 life still. If he has any one turn like that, the game is almost certainly over. So Lexi has to keep up some really high pressure, like with these snatches and lightning presses, things like that, being able to attack 2 or 3 times in a turn and present 15 plus damage in a turn. Those are the turns that Lexi has to keep up, or else Viserai is able to just efficiently block, make a few rune chants past the turn, and that's why aggro decks struggle so much into Viserai. But I don't know, Lexi could be playing a Channel Lake Frigid or something like that. A well-timed Channel Lake can really, really screw up the combo. Or a well-timed, I don't know how many ice cards he's playing, doesn't look like it's very many at all.
Yeah, we haven't seen any yet.
So I would, other than the Pulse of Volthaven, I think that's the only one we've seen.
Yeah, with Viserai doing OTK, it's almost like playing solitaire for a bit. Your opponent can do whatever it wants, and then when you get that combo, that's the real turning point.
Yep, that's exactly correct. And the fact that Nathan just took this Dazzling Crescendo means that he's got some good cards in hand.
Yep, he might even have rune chant generation plus a combo piece, in which case he would be ready to go off next turn.
That's what it's looking like to me. Just have to be careful. He is running out of armor block. Once you decide to take some damage like that, it's usually a good idea just to, I mean, really, really have a good hand, because that next hand, if Lexi's able to put a bunch of pressure on your next hand, that means that you could be going to like sub 5 life when you combo, which is kind of scary. This is a really gross turn. This is what, 7, plus 5, that's 12, plus 4 plus 1, that's 17, plus 4. I think that was 21 damage, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and we
But
did see
Lexi
all
with
but
no
one of
arsenal
Nathan's
now.
its card.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, he had to block a lot that turn. And but now Lexi is in her most vulnerable state, which is when she does not have an arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Those natural go-agains are going to become more tough. But this is where Snapdragons comes into play. Oof. Is that a blue lightning press?
It is a blue lightning press.
Quite interesting. Maybe it's a fairly similar theory to the lunging press, like in Prism or something. You know, most people are trying to block exactsies. Being able to get over by 1 can be enough sometimes.
Yeah, and I've definitely had a difference of 1 be the difference between a skirmish or not when a Benji pulls an Ancestral out. So people are used to matching up that 1 damage exactly. Though, no, now that it's healed, it's a bit less frightening.
Right. Absolutely.
Much easier to overblock by 1, especially when you're coming in for 5.
So for those that don't know, Dazzling Crescendo, all it needs to do is be fused to have go again. So he's able to save his Snapdragon Scalers for a further play in this turn. Doesn't need to waste that Lightning Press quite yet. Might even save it for the next turn as an arsenal card. Rain Razors here is a fantastic card, especially if you can combine it with an Endless Arrows. It becomes absurd. Pushing that Lightning Press to the bin there. We're going to get the last Voltaire trigger here for a Fatigue Shot, which Nathan generally doesn't care about Fatigue Shot unless he's planning on going off next turn.
Yeah, and even if he is going off, the Fatigue Shot just prevents halves the first attack that you make. And on the OTK turn, while your first attack usually is something big with a bunch of rune chants behind it, you can kind of work around it if you try hard.
Yep, absolutely. Things like Dread Triptych make great first combo pieces. Into a Fatigue Shot, you don't really care whether you lose 2 damage on a Dread Triptych or another 4 attack.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think the 1 damage on Dazzling Crescendo was worth the Tunic this turn? That doesn't feel correct.
Oh, Nathan's going to 2 here.
He used the Tunic to not have to, so he could so he could fuse the Crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That doesn't quite seem right.
So is he going to search Mordred and play Sonata, or is he going to search Sonata? Okay, just Sonata.
All right. So basically, it has to go here.
Yeah. So the currently representing reveal 9 cards with 13 rune chants on the backside after the Sonata gets played.
Yep, X is 6 over here, plus 3.
Yep, 9 cards.
I don't think this can threaten lethal this turn.
He's going to have a very, very nice set of draws. If he can rip 4 off the top and have 2 or 3 go-agains in there, maybe with like a 9th blade, that would be obviously optimal. But I don't think we've seen a lot of his swarmings and things yet, so there's a very, very strong possibility that this hits well.
Yeah, those new cards from Everfest, Swarming Gloomveil, Revel, and Runeblood, I don't think we've seen either of those, though we did see a 9th blade block with earlier.
Oh, that is really unoptimal.
So he's going to get 2 cards here.
Nathan is almost for sure, unless his hand is very, very good, he's almost for sure losing this game now.
Yep.
This is one of the issues that I had with Viscera. It is the most powerful deck in the format, in my opinion. It does not have any quote-unquote bad matchups, but its bad matchup is itself, unfortunately. It loses to itself. If the Sonata is not kind to you, no matter how much math you've done to make sure that you have, the correct ratio left in your deck, and you just can't predict the 2 defense reactions being in your top. It all comes down to an odds game, and if you don't hit the odds correctly, then here we are.
Yeah,
and,
it's the same sort of problem that people say when they talk about Brute and Rhinar. They don't want to have to worry about rolling or discarding and drawing the wrong card. But over here with Viscera, you see potentially the most explosive turns out of any hero in the game, but it does come with that risk of randomness. You can calculate it a bit, but there's still the element of the shuffle.
And hopefully they remember to half the power of the amplify here.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
so many taken. I'm not sure if they did get that.
He took 13 rune chance. I believe he was at 38. So that would put him to 15. I don't think they halved it, which, I mean, it is a trigger that his opponent's responsible for, so... To swarming. This is not feeling good. Any lightning press in this game is over.
At 21 life, I don't think the Lexi player even bothers to block this.
No, they don't care at all right now. You keep a full card hand. Oh, Jesus, and the Blizzard too.
Yeah, there goes that last card. Or it ends the turn right there.
Into the arsenal it goes.
Very well timed on that Blizzard. I guess there was some ice in that deck after all. Very well hidden by CJ.
Yeah, we didn't see any ice other than the Pulse of Vault Haven, so that's unique. But I don't think it's going to take much to close out this game here. Viserai chewed through most of his armor. Remorseless is a fantastic follow-up to a bad combo. It's going to represent not only a hit trigger, but also the damage anytime you, play a card or activate a card?
Yeah, it's every time you play a card.
Whenever you play an action card, yeah.
So basically, if you're the Viserai player here, and that Remorseless is coming in, you're just going to want to dump your whole hand much.
Yep, you're going to overblock this for sure. Must have a defense reaction in his... Oh, he's still blocking. Okay. Blocking 5.
Did my screen freeze up? I still see Remorseless in the Arsenal zone.
It must have frozen up. Remorseless has been played and blocked successfully with 2 armor pieces and a 3 block.
Oh, very interesting.
Fatigue shot coming in after the Remorseless. This is coming in for 5. Actually, I think he gave it +1 with the Voltaire, so I think it's coming in for 6.
Yeah.
There's just not much Nathan can do at this point in the game. All of Lexi's things are pretty much breakpoint, and they all have pretty good on-hit effects, so... not sure what it would take for Nathan to get back into this unless he can successfully block and build up to another 10 rune chance or so, which I don't see happening.
Oh, though we do have another Sonata, which always reeks of possibility.
Not when you hit defense reactions in every one of your Sonatas.
Yeah, we were talking about whether or not you include those unmovables against Lexi, but really it's those Revel and Runebloods that are taking the trouble.
Yeah, the reducer rune chants are doing a work on Viserai right now. They are not being friendly. Get an activation of Voltaire here to put in another Searing Shot or Blazing.
Yeah, this is a Searing Shot. So Sharing Shot here coming in for 5. On hit, it deals an extra damage, so you got to fully block it or you die.
This smells like blue lightning thing. Lightning.
Blue lightning press.
Blue lightning press?
Oh,
no, okay.
Rain Racers. That's game, right?
GG.
Yep.
That is game.
So game 1 out of the four games today goes to CJ with the Hyperloops.
Well played. Well played. He kept up the pressure the whole game, and that's what he needed to do. Viserai fallen short to itself there a little bit, but that's to be expected. You have to play into your outs to Viserai. Sometimes they don't hit the rune chant generation that you need. So. But we'll get Nathan in here. I don't think he's going to have much to say about that game, other than the fact that his Sonatas were very unkind to him, and he got kind of decimated there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things could have definitely gone differently if he had got more card of those Sonatas. He was all the way down to 2 when that happened, so he would have had to get that OTK pretty much then, but I think it was just some really unfortunate luck.
At 12 rune chance when your opponent's at 40, there's nothing to be done, basically.
And I was just told we're actually not doing any interviews tonight. We're just letting the players play and moving on to the next match when they're ready. Who's the next one up in the lineup? Is it Nam? Nam and
Yeah.
Next one I believe is Nam
Nam
and Cody. Yeah.
Nam and Cody. I know they scheduled their match for after this one, but we'll see if they are ready to go or not.
Yeah, I
Technically,
will.
they
While we're
scheduled
waiting too,
30 minutes later.
cool thing we could do is is talk about the Fab 2.0.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to
announcement.
read the article. Somebody catch me up on all the details.
It's actually a pretty neat little article. Let me click the link for you, and we can actually go through it.
I got snippets of information, but
When Nathan was updating us, like that.
yeah, yep.
Oh, let's go find it. Let's see.
Hello, Nathan.
What up? What up?
Those are some rough sonatas, my friend.
Even if they hit better, I
Oh
don't
no,
think
you were
I
under the
win
gun.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were under the gun big time.
yeah.
All right,
It-
Nathan. Let me know
Sure.
what your favorite thing about Fab 201, 2.0, whatever it's called, 2.0.
Those are
What's your
very different
favorite
things.
thing about it? They really are. They
What's
really
my-
just are, huh?
What's my favorite thing?
What's your favorite thing about this announcement they had today? What are you most looking forward to?
100%. It actually means something to pull a cold foil now.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it when I read that. It kind of seems like the cold foil fables are going to be slightly bit more expensive than you're used to seeing now with these last few sets, because
Well-
of how hard it's going to be able to be pulled.
Well, everything will demand at least a 3x premium, if not more.
Yeah, for sure.
So it just depends on, whether people value it or not. But I mean, for the longest, ever since, Everfest and Tails, the last time I was excited to pull a cold foil was probably Monarch. And obviously, I mean, that probably had a lot to do with how much they were worth, but it'd be nice to have that back, because Tails and Everfest just wasn't doing it. It was like, oh, that's cool, but it's
But like, is it really? Yeah.
yeah, and now you're going through the pack, right? And you're like, oh, I pulled a legendary, but is it cold foil? And you have like that excitement of like that half a second where you're, what is it? So
Yeah.
Being able to pull anything from a loose pack is quite cool.
I have to say that coming from other card games where the inherent value of even the most expensive card in the set was significantly less than pretty much every legendary you can pull in Flesh and Blood,
Mhm.
that having any sort of value in that slot, like even through Tails, and like we opened so much Tails, and some of the legendaries are still like $200. Which is insane with how much of that set we've pulled out. So having come from other card games where like the most expensive thing you can pull in the set might be $60 at its peak, it's so nice to have value actually in the cards that we play. Even though that does obviously deter some people from obtaining said cards. But those values historically go down in price as the game, as more of it gets opened and so on and so forth.
But in those other games, do you have to go through 4 boxes to hit it? Hit that
yes, in
60 or
in
$30
some
card?
yeah. So like in Magic, for instance, they'll print sets with tons of Majestics in them, or Mythics, or
Right,
whatever
right.
they're called in Magic. But and then one of those Mythics would be like say the foil version of that Mythic, right?
Mhm.
That would be maybe, I don't know what the actual ratio is, but maybe like say like 1 in 8 boxes or something. Well, Magic boxes are more expensive than Flesh and Blood boxes because they come in 36-pack boxes and they're like retail for like $100. So you might have to spend $100 to $120 on your box and open 8 of them to get a foil Majestic that's worth $50. If that makes sense, where you don't have recouping value on the backside by all of the
Is there not a
other
foil mythic?
legendaries.
Is there not a foil mythic in every box?
there is, but when there's 30 mythics in a set or 20 mythics in a set or whatever, and you
Right.
only get one foil mythic per box, you
Right.
might get one per 20 box that you actually want. But
Right.
it's been a while since I've been in Magic, so I don't remember the exact ratios and things, so I could be a little bit off, but it's definitely more expensive than this set, and you have no ROI on boxes in that game.
Right.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is they've actually formalized the commoner format. I know there have been a lot of people who are concerned that Blitz has become almost too competitive for new players, even though it was originally intended to be casual. So I'm hoping that a commoner format where everyone can hopefully afford even the best of deck will really help boost the games at the local card shops trying to start up with a bunch of newer players.
Yep. One of the gripes I've had with this game was that there aren't enough core sets being produced. And it's not just for getting cards and having the format evolve and all that kind of fun stuff. But what it does is it allows for callings to be draft format and sealed format. And these sorts of formats that we need to have the game go on, because those formats do so much for the game. They, one, allow people to come into tournaments with no deck, having purchased nothing. They just come in, they spend their $50, they open their packs, and they play a big tournament they want to play. Two, they open product. That's huge for the game. Imagine if we didn't have all those tails callings that were draft. We wouldn't have nearly the product we have in the market now, and it could be an actual problem for the values of obtaining cards. So it just makes cards so much more widely available and gets so many more people involved in the game. But when you have one set out that's draftable for 6 months, you have a few callings, and then after that it becomes completely stale because nobody wants to just keep drafting the same set over and over and over again.
Right.
Yeah, especially if the set isn't as fun to draft as some of the others.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to take about 15-20 minute break. I will be back in just a minute, guys. You guys keep it going, and I will see you soon.
All right. Just a reminder, everybody, this is the Card Guys and Andy Modell from the Hyperloops. We are streaming on both of our YouTube channels for this marathon of 4 games in the competitive team league tonight.
Looks like Nam is ready, but Cody.
Yeah, we're waiting on Cody. I'm just getting a response out of him. We are all good. But my question to you, Josh, is since they updated and gave us a little lore story last night, is Engulfing Light powered up Dorinthia? Now that you actually look at it?
Let me look at the art again.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to look at it because boy, oh
I
boy.
thought that was a dude.
Yeah, I gotta
But
say,
like,
the jawline on that face is not Dorinthia line.
All I'm saying is they could be twins. Like Dorinthia might have a brother. You know what I'm saying? Or that just is
Let me pull up the
Dorinthia.
card.
Because if you remember
That looks
Dragon
like
Ball,
a dude.
if you remember in Dragon Ball Z when Goku goes Super Saiyan 3, like his face restructures, you never know. She could have gone Super Saiyan.
That looks like a dude.
How? He's got an Adam's apple the size of a damn basket.
Hey, she could have just. I don't know.
Also, that sword is not Dawnblade.
Correct.
Oh, my bad, Josh. That's the bad one right there. Okay,
Right.
my bad. Wow, sorry to disrespect her.
Yeah. The
apologize.
But from the lore thing, it looked like she briefly got the light talent, and then it was taken away from her.
So what does that mean to you going forward with the game for Dorinthia?
I mean,
Are we going to
the
see a
main thing
light version of her?
I don't think so, but because the way the light warrior is designed and the way that Dorinthia plays is completely.
Yeah, the light hero is all about the soul zone that only exists pretty much for light heroes. And with Bolton, he's all about charging that soul, charge being his keyword. I don't really see where charge or the soul fit in with Dorinthia and her standard game plan.
Yeah, there's no situation. Like if you told me, hey Josh, your Dorinthia deck, you can put any light card you want in there, I'd be like, okay, great. I'm not putting any light cards in there. So like, yeah, the main thing is there was a picture. I like the art in this article quite a bit, actually. My favorite picture has got to be Dorinthia facing massive demons right before Minerva shows up. That is just I just like that art a lot, and I like the art at the very bottom as well, where Dory and Bolton are next to each other. That's also cool too. Did you know my brother yesterday? So if you look at the very the bottom picture, so you have Dory and Bolton there, right? And then
it looks like
you have four.
Prism.
You have four figures in the back. The one on the left is Prism. Yep.
Yeah.
Now the three characters in the back, we aren't sure who they are. However, that mask is like lore wise, the mask that the person on the right is holding is pretty important in terms of the lore. It's like the mask of the Grand Magister or something like that, or a Templar mask, I think. Basically, that's part of like you know the vestige of soul, like that mask is kind of like part of their uniform as well. So that could be a illusionist hero, or maybe just a I don't know.
Yes. So far, masks have been the traditional helmet of the ninja, really.
Could be like a light ninja or something. I don't know. But the do you think they'd ever print a hero that is like just light? Like it doesn't have like a class like warrior, illusionist, brute, just light. I think that's too weak, right?
I feel like you might get an ally or something like that, similar to how you have Ursa and Blasphemous, but I don't know if you get a full-fledged hero.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I don't know.
That could come down the line a lot later, because the current light and shadow, just the pure talent pool is not large enough. We kind of saw that with Icelander. Like initially, we're like, "Oh my god, Icelander's going to be broken," but then we're like, "Wait, she doesn't have that many cards in the the ice talent pool is actually not as deep as we had wished." But yeah, I like all the art in here. I like this the lore of this as well.
Yeah. One of the other things as part of the Fab 2.0 announcement is their commitment to continuing the lore. Before now, it's been pretty sporadic, only getting that one lore book and then hints on what the storyline is for each set. But now they're demonstrating that with the dual decks, they're including a little lore book. We have this new story that we just got. And it looks like Cody has joined the TTS room, so we are getting ready for that second game.
That's good.
All right, it looks like
something that they talked about a while ago that I haven't seen anybody really talking about is that the story is actually sort of defined by their performance in Living Legend. Like, so if a hero is doing very well on the tournament scene, they might write the lore such that they're doing better.
We did notice that when Sebastian ended up getting second at Las Vegas, one of the representatives from LSS emailed him and said that Sebastian was it Sebastian? No, it was Nam. It was Nam when he won. Nam was actually entered in the lore for Oldhim. So like Nam is now, and his name is engraved in the Oldhim lore, which is kind of a neat spin on things. So. Looks like Cody ended up winning the die roll there.
Yep.
Yep. So
All right, I'm going to mute up, and you guys are good to go. And do your thing.
All right, thank you, Kyle. So here we have game 2 with Cody Williams on the Hyperloops against Monroe from the Card Guyz. Cody on Briar, Nom on Bravo, star of the show.
So we've actually seen that Briar can compete at the highest level, and so this will be interesting to see what Cody brings to the table here, because normally we refer to the metagame and we talk about the 3 pillars. However, Briar is one of those dark horses that, along with Chain and Lexi, in my opinion, that really have a shot to that can take down any one of the pillars on any given day.
Yeah, she's certainly one of the less represented Runeblades in the classic constructed meta nowadays, at least. But with cards like Channel Mount Heroic and her her long list of new cards from Everfest with the Swarming Gloomveil and the Revelant Runeblood, she can still pack some very explosive turns that can get through Bravo Star of the Show's defenses.
Mm-hmm. The embodiment also can allow for a clean block of the Winter's Wail, which is probably pretty important because most Briar decks run pretty red line in general. So we'll see if that comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like the players are just finishing up their sideboarding right now. Cody did win the die roll, so we'll see if he chose to go first or second this game. Now, if you were playing a Briar to a Bravo, what would you choose?
I would probably go first. The chance that you get an embodiment is pretty high. The chance that you get some damage in is pretty high. You don't allow the Starvo player to start with an arsenal. However, the downside is that they're going to get to filter their hand. So it's one of those things as Briar, you're either going very ham here, or you're making a Rune Chant arsenal pass. You're not kind of going in halfway here. Breathlore, Surge into Ravenous Rabble.
So this is coming in for 7 with Go again.
Okay. Yep. Nice breakpoint here. Likely to get 2 or 3 cards depending on Nom's hand.
Yeah, and Nam has chosen to use Stalagmite as his shield, so being able to give Briar a Frostbite token and potentially slow down her play whenever she runs out of cards in hand seems like it'll be very powerful here. We do see him blocking with one of his Oakenolds, Oakenold being, in my opinion, probably the most powerful deck that Starvo has in his arsenal.
Yep. I'm extremely surprised he took 4 damage here. What cards could be that valuable that you're... Okay, I guess if they don't block, that makes a lot of sense. This is still quite a bit of damage leaking through on turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not... Is he going to block the physical damage here?
Looks like he's taking that.
Very surprising.
Oh, wow. With the turn 1 Awakening, though, a very powerful, almost classic turnaround. So right here, he's getting, what is that? Twice 7, 14 Seismic Surge tokens. Yep. He can look for whatever he wants. And there's a Pulverize.
Yep, Pulverize is going to be the weapon of choice for Nom. Creating 10... I guess... No, 14 Seismic Surges.
All right.
This tack doesn't have Go again.
Yeah,
so this is...
he didn't have the Bravo Fuse, so it doesn't have Dominate and it doesn't have Go again. But still, 14 damage is a lot, and if it hits, it will reduce the power of Briar's first attack by 4. And that's just an on-hit. That's not a crush. It's not anything fancy.
Yep.
And here is the entire hand from Cody. Thanks to the Embodiment of Earth, it looks like it's blocking for a bit more, but not enough to nullify all the damage.
Mm-hmm. I presume this is just going to pass back to... Okay, so we're on their end step right now.
Yep. End of Cody's turn. Nam is using the Crown of Seeds.
Yep. No reveal.
Now, it looks like a very ice-heavy hand, but a Spinal Crush is one of those cards that's effective against go-again style strategy like you see from Briar.
Yep. Briar doesn't have any embodiments right now, and quite a few of her cards are 2 blocks, so this could be a little bit tricky here. We'll see, depending on what exactly is in Cody's hand.
Yeah, similar to last
turn. We're likely
turn.
to see at least a block of 6 here.
Right. Cody has to make the decision on whether it's worth blocking with a lot of cards and having very little for his next turn, or not having go again on anything.
Yep. Another thing that we're going to have to look at as the game progresses is what type of defense reactions the Briar's running, if any.
Did I miss anything?
Only
The game has
everything.
started.
Only everything.
So I'll give you the TLDR.
Yeah, give me the TLDR.
So Briar came in for 7 damage on turn 1. Nam fused an Awakening, searched for a Pulverize, used Pulverize. Briar threw her hand at it, still leaked a couple damage. Nam drew up and sent a Spinal Crush across. Briar blocked with armor and a card, and now we're here.
Seems reasonable.
Fused Bramble Spark.
Looks like Briar has 2 arsenal slots.
The other one is his embodiment tokens.
Yeah, I know.
All right, but this is pretty powerful. We got a Force of Nature and a Bramblestark boosted Exude Confidence. So this is going to be...
Very lovely.
Yeah, +4 right now. Unless Bravo blocks it with like a Crippling Crush or a Pulverize, it's likely that he's going to have some trouble playing defense reactions. And it has go again.
Briar doing what Briar does. Play a bunch of 0 cost things, give them go again, and have some on hit effects to worry about. Very powerful. Very powerful. Nationals vibes. Something to worry about here, though, is that Nam has already been able to chew up some of his armor. So that means his fuses now are going to be really powerful, and he also still has 2 uses on that Stalagmite, which are big problems for Briar. Any more Spinal Crushes and Oakenolds of that sort are going to do a lot of work.
Yep. The arcane damage coming in from Bramblespark hit, but because Force of Nature is only an on-hit draw effect, all it did was give the embodiment to Cody. It didn't give him that extra card draw.
Exactly. And now that we have this eroded Briar, that is the only embodiment he's going to get this turn.
Yep.
Yeah, and it looks like Nam is bringing in his Stalagmite, one of 2 free Frostbite tokens coming in. This will be...
Is this only a block for 4? Versus...
No, he needs to respect this much more.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was thinking that can't be right.
Yeah, 7 on the board right now. I believe he's being presented with 8 from the Exude Confidence. And there he's activating Crown of Seeds. Or maybe he isn't? Yeah, which will prevent the 8th damage. Oh, and Cody is reminding him that he can't activate Crown of Seeds.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yep.
Why did he draw?
Oh, hold on. There actually is a window where he could do it, but he's already declaring blocks here.
He already took the arcane damage too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're past that window. Should we say something?
I
Yes, you said.
did he get his card back?
I think he drew from the top of the deck. I mean, it's not in the arsenal, right?
Hold on.
Did
I would say go in there in the
I
Discord.
mean Cody reminded him about Crown of Seeds, right?
He allowed it.
He allowed it.
Right,
Okay.
because technically you can do it before declaring blocks on the Exude.
Yeah.
This is one of those things, though. You need to be clear about the stages and phases. Yep.
Absolutely. Reminder for those watching: this is far from professional level rules enforcement, and it is up to the player's discretion to allow take backsies or promote. Because in this kind of format, right?
It is.
This
He
is
has
the
not
most impactful
fused
card.
anything.
It don't matter with this card.
Yep.
This one says all your 2 blocks are looking real weak right now.
Yep.
Nice. With that embodiment, I believe that's a block for 6. Leaving Briar with a 2-card hand, right where you want to be. So now is a very powerful way to start. Especially with the swarming.
Oh yeah, Swarming Gloomveil is just one of those cards from Everfest that I think pulls its weight easily. I think this is probably one of the best 0-drop attacks that we have in the game right now.
A lot of people were talking about, how would you balance format, right? And if Starvo was gone, I think Viserai would be one of the best decks in the format. And my opinion, Swarming Gloomveil would hurt the deck enough if you were to get rid of that card. You don't have to touch the combo itself. Swarming would hurt the combo by default because they really, really require a number of go again cards and on hit effects and things like that. So if you hit Swarming Gloomveil, I think it would do enough damage.
All right, here we see that second block from Stalagmite, bringing in that Frostbite token.
Very aggressive. I think he must have a good hand. And this also means.
Do you like the Stalagmite block here? I mean, if
it means if
red,
it's exactly.
If it's a red, it goes to the arsenal. If it was, I don't think that actually did much.
Yeah, but here we do have a fuse.
Yeah.
Depends on what that 4th card in his hand is. Doesn't look like he's reaching for it, though.
No, this is just an Autumn's Touch now for 7 Dominate Go Again. Probably one of the less impressive fused cards that Bravo can present.
Yep. Yeah. And I think what Nom's really going for here, which is something that's very, very important against decks like Briar, is having an arsenal slot. Having the arsenal slot allows you to cleanly block a 4-power on-hit effect from Briar, which they have many, many of. And then also presenting the 4 damage from the Winter's Wail with the Frostbite, which Frostbites are obviously very, very good against Briar. So this puts the Briar opponent in an awkward situation where they're taking a bunch of damage. Your opponent's going to have an arsenal slot, and you have to think about this Frostbite that's coming through. So.
Yeah, early on, Cody was able to use equipment to prevent the Winter's Wail. Right now, he doesn't have that luxury, so he's presenting an E-Strike instead.
Yep, he still has a couple blocks left over there in the equipment. He's going to have to utilize that skull cap at some point or another, and I know the skeleton is going to be one of the last things he wants to block with, but doesn't usually get much use out of it. So this is probably going to be an E-Strike go again. Be my thinking here.
Yeah, we don't see him drawing a card, we don't see him putting the +2, and we see that 1 card in arsenal and in hand.
Yep. What Nom's going to have to really be worried about here, as somebody who's played Starvo into Briar multiple times, the one thing you have to try to get through is that Snapdragon Scalers. As long as it's on the board, things can be tough. they can at any point just go off on you when you didn't expect it. And Bravo does not block very efficiently when it comes to a bunch of 4 attacks with on-hit effects. They can block the first one all right, but the second and third one, and then you count for a channel mount heroic at some point in there, it can get pretty tough.
Yeah, we haven't seen ourselves a channel mount heroic coming in from Briar yet. So one is probably due very soon, though. Channel like Frigid over on the Starvo is probably, if the Spinal Crush best card against the Go Again strategy, this is the other best card.
Absolutely. Channel like Frigid, if he's able to keep this for even 2 turns, is going to be very, very detrimental for the Briar opponent, unless he was able to. With these Earth builds, they can get around it a little bit better by pitching a blue and attacking with their 0 cost cards, but it does hurt still.
Yeah, and we have seen a few blue cards over on Cody's side. Let's see how many cards he chooses to use to block the Winter's Wail. That'll give us a sense for how confident he is in his ability to strike through the Channel Lake Frigid.
Yep. Yeah, him playing Blue Autumn's Touch and things like that makes me think that he's definitely got some channel mounts in there somewhere or another. We haven't seen him yet, obviously, but...
Yeah, he's choosing to get rid of a Storming Gloomveil and his Bloodsheath Skeleton to stop that Frostbite token. So it looks like he does have something he really wants to push through this turn.
Absolutely. Yep, he's got the blue card. Just going to leave him with 2 floating. If he has 2 0 cost Go Agains, then he'll be able to pay for both of those. There's one of them. Revealing another Sonata.
4 damage over here.
Mm-hmm. Pitching an ice card. That's got to be careful about that right now. You want to keep those ice cards if you can.
Yeah, if he had 2 ice cards in his hand, he'd be able to keep around the Channel Lake Frigid. If he only had 1, then it might be worth pitching this to the Crown, though it does depend if he wants to be more defensive this turn or if he is just trying to set up for that Bravo fuse next turn.
Exactly. And he does have the 2 Go Agains, so, or the 1 Go Again plus the follow-up, at least.
Yeah, Scar for a Scar here, not having Go Again. And he can't use his Snapdragon Scalers because of the Channel Lake Frigid, so you're not giving Scar for a Scar Go Again for free.
So it doesn't look like the Channel Lake's doing a lot this turn, but in reality, it's actually doing a lot because it's preventing that play where he's able to go into the Gorganian Tome, into the Snapdragon Scalers on the Scar for a Scar, into the Sword Swing, and then also still keep that Arsenal card. So he prevented quite a bit of damage there with that. We got another Awakening coming in here with Fuse. He's probably going to go grab that Spinal Crush in his deck would be my guess. That or a Crippling Crush. Now that his armor block is very, very weak on the Briar side, either of those is going to be very, very impactful.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing a Crippling Crush over here, and this is a very strong time to have it. With that Channel Lake Frigid out, even if Cody had a large defense reaction in Arsenal, it's going to cost an additional card up into the Crippling Crush. Now I'm only having 3 cards in hand. We know we're not going to see that dominated with Go Again from Bravo Star of the Show's ability, but it is nothing to laugh at. Present 11 damage with that Crush on hit.
I'm hoping these are 2 ice cards in his hand, which they are not. But
no, I forgot about the pulses there.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be 13 Dominate Go Again. For anybody that doesn't know, that's extremely fair. This is the turn that Nam needed to turn this game around. Briar's been kind of in the driver's seat so far, keeping the pressure up every turn. And this 13 Dominate's coming at a time where his opponent has 1 armor block left, which that's not nearly enough to do what you need here.
Yeah, a lot of people, and earlier we were talking about, what you might ban to make Viserai weakened but not too weak. I think one of the general consensus that I've heard at the beginning of a lot of the conversations was that Awakening was the card that would really need banning, because it lets you pull off turns like this, where you just use those 2 resources to get something for free that can be so devastating and turn the game around.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think the dev team's argument for not banning it was Michael Hamilton's list that won without it. But I do agree that Awakening is and it is just a flawed design for a metagame. But it is you can play around it, but it punishes the aggro decks in the format, which really stinks. Valuing keeping the blink here for the frostbite on hit effect. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this? Pitching the pulse here to try to present a frostbite and then keeping the blink for Arsenal instead of just holding
That's
on
totally fine.
to.
He
Yeah,
has a charged tunic, and he's going to have 5 cards, basically, if he wants.
yeah.
He doesn't need the pulse to represent 2 elements.
Okay. Here's the last Sonata that we knew he was going to draw.
Oof.
Oh,
and
no.
it looks like a full whiff showing 2 of those Channel Mount Heroics.
Channel mounts. Yep. That is very, very good for Nom. Nom definitely wanted to see that.
Yeah, using his tunic to give himself that 5-card hand. So pitching the pulse ended up putting that a bit higher up, though I don't think he's going to be seeing that second cycle anytime soon. We got another Bravo fuse out of that 5-card hand.
This is very, very close to being game now, because he's presenting 13 to Briar's 11 and no embodiment tokens now. He is going to have a very hard time getting back into this game. At minimum here, it looks like so his life is 1 lower now, so he actually going to get some value out of this skull cap, which he needs to go ahead and do. I would probably save it for the Winter's Whale if you plan on doing any sort of attack on your turn. He's going to have one more turn to crack back
stop
at
the
him.
frostbite.
Yep, he's going to have one more turn to crack back at him, it looks like. Curious to see how he blocks this turn. That Arsenal card has been there a minute, right?
I think it has.
It's been there so long that
Yeah.
we just,
You think
we're
he
like,
accidentally put a tome there?
it could be an unmovable that he didn't want to pay 2 cards for.
You
on
think the
other
Briar
turns.
would be playing Unmovable?
I highly doubt it, but I mean, generally the Briar cycles through their arsenal pretty quickly.
He would have Unmovable the Crippling Crush for sure, right?
It could be a Channel Mount Heroic waiting for a blue Earth card.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think the blue. Well, he pitched a Weave Earth at one point, but that was on the Channel Lake Frigid turn. So I don't know. It's tough to say. That could be a number of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also don't
also be
forget,
something like
if that wasn't a movable, there was the Channel Lake Frigid out there, so it would have been 2 cards just to pull that out.
Yep. I don't think any of the Briar lists I've seen are playing Unmovable, and if I was playing Briar, I don't think that I would play Unmovable. But I think this block right here, this turn right here, is going to determine the outcome of this game, I think. If he blocks incorrectly, he could lose. But if he blocks correctly and puts his life total low enough to where he can present lethal still on the crackback, then he's going to be in good shape. Also, quick question: what do you guys think about do you think that Null Rune is absolutely necessary against Briar?
You mean the null reboots that we see?
I personally do think they are. I just want to hear what other people think because they don't present nearly as much arcane as most Runeblade decks.
You know, I think that the big question is, are you going to get more than 3 out of it during the game, compared with the Iron Hide, which does 2? You are pumping in more resources, but Bravo, star of the show, pumps in resources on his opponent's turn for Crown of Seeds anyway. So I think the Null Rune Boots are advantageous.
Yep, I agree. Going down to 5 here off this swing, which means the Winter's Whale is not going to quite present lethal, but I'm assuming he's going to block it with the Skull Cap. Yep. Keeps him with 3 cards. Now he's going to keep an Arsenal, which is really, really good for him. And now we're going to see if the Briar can produce any embodiments to save him next turn, because we're at the point in the game where he's got no armor left for those fuses. So the fuses become lethal now.
Yeah, Cody choosing to come in with an E-Strike.
I'm gonna assume this one's for go again to try to or present some shenanigans with the Arsenal card, but in reality, it's probably just for 7. Because if this is just for 7 here, he's not dead to a lightning press. If he has fuse in hand, he just takes this damage and doesn't care anything about this regular damage.
Yeah, it
But
looks
if he
like
doesn't
Dom
have
is
fuse,
blocking
then,
with
yep.
2 cards right there.
Yep, I think that's the right call if you don't have the triggered ability for Bravo.
Hmm.
So
I
he's
think he's
probably
waiting for the tunic to be charged up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And at this stage in the game, Winter's Wail by itself is, with presenting a frostbite, it's quite devastating. You're still at 12 life, so you can take a hit and survive. You just gotta wait for that one hand that actually kills your opponent.
Yeah, Cody right now doesn't have the embodiment, and he only has 1 block out of equipment left. So the winner's will is either going to eat 2 cards, going to give him the frostbite, or it's going to eat something that has 3 block, of which I would say the minority of cards in Briar tend to.
Yep, definitely not many cards that block for 3, other than like the channel mounts and Force of Nature and things like that. Most things are going to block for 2 and rely on that buff from the embodiment, and most of the attacks themselves do not block for 3. So I think E-Strike is one of the few in their deck that does. And I know we've gone through most of those at this point. But if he does have a 3 block in hand, 3 block plus Skullcap is looking real appealing right now. Trying to get that last value out of your Skullcap, because it's very, very possible that Nom's going to take a bunch of damage and go to a low life on whatever crackback turn that you have, and then you might not be able to get that last point of value out of it.
Yeah, Cody choosing just to block with Skullcap, so he's still going to get that Frostbite token. He just decided he would rather have 2 life now than 1.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the right call if he's able to utilize his hand here. That's the big thing. Is now he has to present lethal. So if he isn't able to present lethal with his hand, then that was not correct.
Yeah, so this is the card that's been in Arsenal for a while. It is a Bramble Spark, which it is fused by this Weave Earth.
We had
so that's
2
going to be
Weave
plus
Earths
3
in this hand.
And an Arcane.
Probably going to play the Weave Earth to get the embodiment of lightning as well. Follow up with some sort of 0 attack. Some sort. Him not having resolved a Channel Mount Heroic is usually a nail in the coffin in this matchup, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Channel Mount Heroic, I think, is the hit or miss for Briar, both in Blitz and CC. That's the card that gives you the turns that win the games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just usually need to resolve 1 with a few attacks behind it, and that's usually enough. Exude Confidence is a great one here, which I'm assuming they're going to resolve this correctly this time with Crown of Seeds first.
Yeah, though it is worth noting the Weave Earth does not impact the Exude Confidence. Yes. The embodiment of lightning gives it the go again, but it's only getting boosted right now from Bramble Spark.
Correct. This is going to be 7 attack, I believe, with 2 on the follow-up. Plus 2 on the follow-up attack. Is Blue Weave Earth does plus 1 or plus 2?
It's plus 1, but it's plus 2 if the follow-up is used.
Gotcha.
So looks like there's not going to be a possibility of fusing, given that Cody only has 1 card in hand.
Yep. This is looking like 3, 4 with the Crown of Seeds, so he needs to block 3 more, I believe, to get this fully blocked.
Yeah, but there is no on-hit presented right now. And it looks like he did use the resource to prevent the Arcane.
Yeah. So he's just going to take the 3 damage here?
Yeah, Cody reminding him that he used...
Yeah. Took 1 too many there.
All right, and then that last card is a Snatch, which does present the on-hit, but does not get boosted from the Weave Earth. So this is just going to be 4 damage right now, with that draw on-hit effect.
And with the Snapdragon still alive, I'm putting a 3 block in Crater Fist in front of this.
Yeah, if that thing isn't fully blocked, Cody would be snapping those scalers for sure.
Absolutely.
He still might, considering the Rosetta Thorn is worth 4 damage here.
For sure.
But
For sure.
we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like he's even pre-charged it, as it will, before Nam has decided on his block.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that means Nam said no blocks or if he's teasing him over there.
Oh, it looks
take
like
4. So Nam
yeah, so Cody
has
is going to
have
get that
his-
card draw.
Yeah, Nam has to have the Bravo
Pulse.
ability in hand.
Yeah, really gambling on what this card from Cody is. If it's something with Go Again, if it's something that costs 0, that deals 5 damage, you know, there are
And he's
many possibilities.
Yep.
Making an enchant here, I presume. Yep.
just
Yeah, so
enough
this is going to present lethal.
But well, he's got the one floating from the Winter's Bite still, so he could go to 1 here, and if he has Dominate in hand, the game's over.
Yep. And it looks like he is using his Tunic, so he's only taking 2 damage total.
Yeah.
But he
So
did
this game
keep all
should
3
be
cards
over.
in hand.
I don't think there's any combination of cards unless he's playing a defense reaction that can stop a dominated attack here.
Yeah, nothing like the surprise one-off red unmovable.
Yeah, it's going to be 7 power evergreen. Or is that a red evergreen? Looks like it's red, which is 9 power, which is definitely game.
Yep.
GG.
So Cody
GG.
has conceded here. We have Namvo beating Cody Williams in the second of our marathon games. That's record right now for 1 game to the Hyperloops and 1 game to the Card Guys.
GG.
GG.
I believe I'm up next.
You are up next.
Wowzer. What a game. That was such a nail biter, actually.
Yeah, getting those 2 awakenings off really let him get the tempo over there. But Cody did at the end. He had a chance to turn it around depending on what that card draw was.
He almost turned it around for sure. Just imagine if like the card he drew was like another Ravenous Rabble or like another 0 cost attack.
Oh yeah, any 0 cost go again attack there would have prevented him from dying.
Yep. For sure. Let's see. Yeah, so next match we have is Alex. That's you, right?
Yep, it's Alex against Shane.
That's
Yep.
it. I was trying to find the pairings. There we go.
It's the 5-letter password, right?
6.
It's 6.
Yeah, math. You know?
Somebody type it in chat for me again.
I got you.
Hello, Dom.
I did it.
You did it.
I did it. Oh, did I miss a tunic?
That was
Are we
a close game.
Yeah, I believe you did.
okay? On the turn
Yeah.
there was that 2, right? Because we started talking, and then I looked that up. I looked up, and I was like, "Wait, did I tunic?" And I just couldn't remember.
I saw you hovering over it and like thinking about it, and I was pretty sure that you did not. But I wasn't sure because I wasn't paying 100%.
Yeah, it was like we were pretty quiet the entire game, and then at that one moment we started talking a little more, and I just out the window. I forgot. And then I was like,
There you
I mean, before I did anything, I was like, "Did I tunic?" It's over.
Looks like my opponent is ready. By the way,
Let me get out of your seat.
get out of my seat, boy.
All right. I'll let Nam, you can commentate this with Andy.
Hey there.
I will step away.
I'm leaving his cards all over the table.
Just play that out.
Can somebody promote me? I am going to
Yeah, I got you right now.
talk to my opponent.
Yeah. Promote.
All right, and Nam, don't
Promote.
forget to set your color so you don't accidentally hit anything while you're bringing it up.
Gray is
Yeah, so that was a very exciting game between two titans right now in Flesh and Blood. Cody being the number 4 ranked Elo player, and Nam, you winning that the calling. I think everyone was very excited for that. Over here we have Alex and Shane. What does the know about Alex?
He doesn't have any huge achievements, but he's won a lot of skirmishes, and I think he's done.
Won a road to Nets. He plays top 4 at the Battle Hard in Indy.
He did do that, yes.
He was undefeated and lost in top 4. One away from getting his professional tour invite.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that,
he's drawn the short end of the stick most of the time. He's like always one match away from making the cut.
Yeah, that is true. He also got 69th at Nationals, which I don't mean much, but
I believe some size to that.
He also day 2'd Indy, but he decided to do the Battle Hard instead because of the points for the invite for New Jersey. So he went ahead and did that. I
feel like he could have done well if he stayed in, but
honestly, yeah, probably. He won. Him, Josh, and Nathan won the 3v3 in Indy. So he had an insane weekend for Flesh and Blood. Actually, that
sounds like quite the fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over here, I see Shane is playing a Viserai. I don't know too many of Shane's accolades, but I do know that he won a Pro Quest this recent season with Viserai, so he does know this deck.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's had only one prior matchup, actually against me in any of the leagues. He hasn't played since the first week of the first league. So he's a wild card does.
Yeah, the Hyperloops have a lot of people interested in the leagues, just a lot of people with busy lives. So people get in when they can. Looks like we have Shane here today. Who knows who will be in next week? We don't.
Well, it will be just us. Actually, Alex will not be able to play next week, so we will have a different roster next by one. Maybe Kyle can play for one.
No. What? Talking about me? I don't play. I'm not a part of this team. It's Nom's group.
Might be.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take into account what's going on here right now. Okay. Before I mute up, Nathan's gonna get in here and talk with you guys. At least I believe so. And every single one of Alex's rounds of the Fab League, he's played a bad matchup. He's never had something that's even like a 50-50.
It doesn't stop here.
It doesn't stop here, Nathan. Bro, it's always bad.
Now, would you say that Prism is a bad matchup into Viserai?
Nathan, answer that for me.
Yeah, it's definitely Vis favored, but not as much as people think. I'd probably put it at about 60% Vis's favor.
Yeah, I'm trying to find who played that game, but I do know last week in one of the Hyperloops match, it was a Prism player ended up beating a Vis opponent. So I'm used to seeing it go the other way a little bit.
It's doable. Like if you look at kind of the results of what happened at the calling at Indy, Prism definitely had a better showing than Viserai. Nathan and Justin being the two highest Viserai ranked players at that tournament. Unfortunately, couldn't get there, but I do feel like if Viserai is presented with sort of the correct hands to go off, and Alex can't kind of get some auras, some aura generation early on, I do believe that Viserai will be able to take this. But I'm gonna mute up. It's up to you guys, and good luck.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Looks like the game started. Shane chose to just Arsenal and pass on his turn 1, and Alex is coming in now with a Herald. Yellow War Tune Herald, which is being popped by Amplify the Arc Knight.
Definitely already a good start for Viscera player. Anytime you can avoid a double aura situation early in the game. This matchup really, me as a Vis player, it comes down to, do I have a good hand or a bad hand? And basically, if you have a bad hand, you default to popping one aura, and if you have a great hand, you try to really push that damage, preferably something, always prioritizing arsenaling a card with Go Again, so that way you can swing a Prism and then into an aura.
Yeah, that sounds right. Usually when I'm seeing Prism, I either want to see 2 auras or 2 heralds. When you get 1 and 1 like that, it feels like a weaker turn.
Exactly. Well, it allows the Viscera player to manage the game, whereas, you know, if they play the double aura, now the Prism's kind of in the seat there.
Right.
So with this E-Strike, it's definitely probably Go Again, and then we're going to see a Rosetta pitch into the aura, if I had to guess.
I would guess the same. Yeah, as the Viscera player, Shane wants to keep those aura counts down. That's the main deal.
Yeah, like that's the bread and butter, right? Like you E-Strike or Mavrian into a Spellblade Assault and then Rosetta into it, or just a Rune Flash even works, a little bit weaker, but it still does the job. And always keeping in mind that when you swing the weapon into the aura, you bank the rune chance and they do not discharge, whereas if you play an attack action card into it, it does fire.
Yeah, it's a pretty tricky niche bit of the rules, what considers attacking, not attacking, between weapons and attack action cards.
Now, that was really interesting that the Viscera player elected to keep the card and not swing.
Looking at the damage, I think he came in for 7.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see what Shane has up his sleeve. Over here, it looks like Alex got an Immersive Retribution and another Wartune Herald. Merciful Retribution being, in my opinion, one of the most annoying of these auras to deal with. You want to keep that soul as empty as you can to prevent Prism from being able to generate her spectral shields, and Merciful, I think, would normally have that Wartune go there, right? Yeah, that's a missed trigger, but...
Yep, the Wartune should have went to soul and triggered the 1 arcane damage.
Yeah, oop.
And he missed the tunic trigger, I think.
Ah.
Should be on 2.
Yeah, maybe that last card in Viscerai's hand last turn was that Mordred Tide. Really, Mordred Tide, probably the more powerful turn starters that you can get on Viscerai. Really hoping to set that up with the other cards in his hand. Oh no, actually that came from Arsenal. Never mind.
Yeah, the only other thing that I could think of is maybe if it was a Revel and he had the... so, like, if he has a Revel... Or, well, obviously not anymore since we saw the Mavrian, but, like, anything here with the Mordred, like a Spellblade Assault, is going to allow you to bank a lot of rune chance and still go into an aura, right? Because he's going to pitch and make all of them in the back, swing a Prism, and then use the last floating to hopefully pop that Merciful. Should be the target.
Yeah. At this time, Alex playing something, and it looks like this is going to be that Arclight Sentinel, so it has to be the target of whatever Shane presents, potentially ruining whatever plan he had for the turn.
And it's perfectly timed, right? On the Mordred Tide and the on-hit effect relevancy of the Mavrian, which means he was going to lose the hand anyway, because it's a yellow Mav into a Mordred. That means it would have made 3 rune chance if it hit. So if it's on something like a meet and greet, it gets even worse. So definitely a very well-timed ALS.
Yeah, and now Alex is in the position where he does have 2 auras sitting pretty. And even though he didn't have anything to pitch, no matter what the Viscerai player does, unless he's leading the charge, one of those auras is going to stick around for next turn. Now, as Prism going in...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as Prism going into Viserai, it seems more Herald-focused build tends to be favored. Do you think that's what Alex is rocking right now? Or does he have a bunch of auras and he just hasn't really got that set up yet?
I think he really just hasn't got it set up yet. Because I think if you go aura-wise, Viserai just has access to too many poppers, basically. You have Amplify, you have Ninth Blade that are always in every Vis list. And then, of course, Runic Reclamation or CNC, whichever flavor you prefer as a player.
All right, here we have
discounted Rune Flash.
Yeah, so this is 6 damage being presented right now at Prism with the Go Again. And it looks like the rune chants were prevented. And Alex is busy figuring out how to block the physical.
I think this match really comes down to, on the Vis side of the table, how he utilizes Revel and Runeblood the best. Obviously, in a perfect world, you play your Mordred, Glooming, and then Revel into a Sonata. That's like just the perfect situation. But there's smaller plays that can be made still utilizing the card. And I think that's what it really comes down to, and really utilizing the power in that Scaletta.
Yeah. Revel and Runeblood's ability to generate so many rune chants, it's not always the easiest to pull off, but when it does, it can be very effective. Speaking of very effective cards, here we have Runic Reclamation, which can destroy an aura if it hits Prism. Looks like Alex has that well-timed Sink Below from Arsenal, able to stop that from getting through.
And that's the biggest thing about Runic Reclamation, is it's a great card when Viserai is ahead, but if he's behind, it's a real big gamble, right? Because what you're essentially saying is like, okay, you have auras on the board, and most of the time Runic Reclamation is never going to have Go Again unless you mob it, but that's very resource intensive. So you're basically saying, okay, I don't think you have any block in your hand because you've started blocking with stuff. And I'm hopefully going to get an aura, because if they block it all, then basically the turn just resets, which is exactly what Prism wants. It gets them one turn closer to another ALS, and then that's how the game just goes away.
Yeah, Alex now has 3 auras on the field, 2 of them with Spectra and 1 of them the Spectral Shield. So build that board presence. Viserai right now has no rune chance, but it does have the full 5-card hand. Or 4 cards in Arsenal, at least. Starting out with a Runeblood Incantation. This, I think, is one of the more interesting cards coming in from Everfest. It gives you 1 rune chant per turn across a few turns, so not really much more value than you'd get out of a something like a Read the Runes, but it does come in with Go Again, and it does trigger things that really help out Swarming Gloomveils, even, of which we have one right now.
Yep, so that'll pump it to 4 with Go Again. And the biggest thing to note on the Runic...
just 3.
No, it's...
The only rune
so I
chant
made one in the
generated this
back.
turn.
Right, but the Runeblood Incantation is an aura, which does count toward the count
my
on
apologies. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and it's very important to note as well, the way it's worded on the incantation. It says at the beginning of your action phase, it will trigger the rune chant generation, which allows Prism a window to plop down to ALS. So that's the gamble that you play with that card, right? It does give you that steady rune chant generation, but at the same time, it does give Prism a chance to respond.
Yeah, though, as the Prism player, do you usually want to respond there at the beginning of the turn before Viserai's had a chance to set up at all? Or do you think it's best to just play the ALS right off the turn?
It really depends. Like, if Prism's at a really low life total, one of the scariest things if the Viserai player has like 2 or 3 rune chants in the back is the Viserai starting with a rune flash, right? Because that's how the Viserai player is going to play anyway. And if you wait till after it's presented to play it, then you're taking that 6 or 7 damage, which you may not be able to afford. So it's really just analyzing that situation of what the life totals are. At this life, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, here we have the second Storm and Gloomveil coming in from Shane. So this one is going to have all abilities active thanks to that rune chant it made behind. And so if it hits, and he comes in with the Rosetta Thorn at least, then those arcane damage will not be preventable. Though chances are he'd attack an aura if and save that last card in his hand for the arsenal. Unless it is Revel in Runeblood.
Well, that's an interesting that you brought that up. I mean, would you play the Revel here? Me personally, I would not, because it's just life damage and there's no added value or anything like that. But what do you think?
Yeah, so I haven't played as many games as the Viserai, so I'm not the expert here at all. It definitely makes sense trying to get as much value from Revel as possible, setting it up with the rune chants for your Sonata, setting it up with a Mordred Tide for 7 damage. It looks like over here,
Right.
whatever that card is going to end up in the arsenal this turn. Shane choosing to destroy the Merciful Retribution, it looks like, with Rosetta Thorn.
And with Alex holding a 3-card hand, I would not be surprised to see a New Genesis here. Yep, there it is. And he's obviously going to hold a light card in hand to take full advantage of that. So he'll get that trigger. So it's definitely worth taking the damage there for sure.
Yeah, Genesis is basically the #1 aura that you see nowadays. It allows the prison player to do so much, to fill up the soul, to get those Spectral Shield tokens, and to filter through a hand if you need to.
And the part about Genesis that most players focus on too much is the shield and the draw. And that's really not the impactful part of the card and its interaction. With the new aura version of Prism, it's very hard to get cards into Soul. So just the fact that you can just throw them in there is definitely the best thing about that card.
Yeah, getting the card in Soul is basically the ability to turn on Luminaris's Go again, and to get yourself more Spectral Shields when you need them.
Absolutely. And then Miraging Metamorphosis. It's a pretty good card.
Yeah, I would say this is probably one of my favorite cards from the Everfest set. It's a 1 for 7, you don't get better value than that, and it has one of the most punishing, if it's popped, conditions there is. We've got a Genesis on the field over on Alex, so if Shane pops this, that's a second Genesis that he's going to get. Also, this is coming in for an additional 2 damage. There's reality, so that's 9 for 1 right now. And Shane is taking all of it.
Oh, that means that the Viserai player is definitely cracking back with something.
Something indeed. Keeping 4 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal, and starting out with a rune chant token. Will Alex be responding? Doesn't look like it. All right, here we have a Sonata, not really bumped up much, just the extra 1, making it 2 hits, so that's pretty good value, but not the devastating OTK turn.
Yeah, I got the same number of cards off of 9 reveals. So, it happens.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate pull.
It happens. It happens. So it triggers the 2 arcane. The most important aspect of that is now Rattle Bones, if it is in the player's hand, is active. However, given the fact that he was so willing to give the resources up by paying
So
into
Rattle
the Sonata,
Bones actually
it's very
isn't
unlikely.
active because the Spectral Shield popped.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I didn't think about that. And obviously, Alex's #1 priority this turn is to not take arcane damage, to keep that meet and greet at bay. So that's definitely going to be the #1 priority.
Yeah, right now Shane is presenting 2 rune chants plus 7 from the Shrill of the Skull form, so that's 9 damage coming in, all at the prison player's face. So definitely a chance that he might use his creepers, or if the arcane goes through, Rattle Bones as an instant, as you suggested.
Yeah, this has creepers just written all over it. Because there's no way that the Viscera player holds 3 cards in hand. Well, so the blue that he pitched is the one we saw. So the only known card that we know of is the meet and greet. There's 2
Yes.
unknown cards. So flashing in a Revel here seems pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like Alex has prevented both of those rune chants, and now it's just 7 damage being presented.
And I think it's very likely to see Alex just take this 7 damage, depending on his hand.
Yeah, even though that that Sonata was only for 2, it still gave Shane the ability to reset his hand with a pitch card, an additional attack card that could have go again, and those resources are already being put to use, so it's not as powerful a turn as you'd ever seen, but it's still a pretty decent turn. And there are those Spellbound Creepers. It looks like that Spectral Shield, there we go. Now it's out of the way.
I mean, why not another one, you know?
Yeah, now that's 2 rune chants every turn. 2 additional damage. Coming in with whatever you've got.
And with the Viscera player already having 2 in the back, and we're more than likely going to see a pitch into a Rosetta into Genesis as the last play, and then arsenaling the last card. But with 2 incantations and 2 already in the back, if the Viscera player is able to do anything with a Scalata and a Sonata, that could end the game very quickly.
Yeah, there are a few options here, because if he does attack Prism directly, he gets to keep his boots, which may be a consideration, may not. Getting rid of Genesis is usually the priority, though. Also, if he does something fancy with Vexing Quillhand, he could come in with that greet, and he probably still wouldn't get that go again.
Yeah, but so this play, if he's going at... Well, okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's going at face. He really wants to keep those Spellbound Creepers.
Interesting. And he's going to bank the meet and greet. Okay. So basically what that means is if that card in Alex's hand is a light illusionist card, he's going to eat all this damage. If it's not, he's probably going to block with it. Because he definitely wants the Genesis trigger if he can get it.
Yeah, though this is... Oh, it looks like he's taking the damage raw. He's not using his helmet. And he's not choosing to... I guess he'd have to use a resource to block with the boots again. Or would he?
Right. No, it stays active.
No.
It stays active.
Yeah, so he could have blocked with those boots again then. Saved one of those hit points.
Well, did he pay for him this turn? I don't think he did he?
I thought he did earlier. I could be wrong. Looks like he decided to keep that card. Yeah.
Yeah, Skull Form came in for 7, and so if he would have blocked with the boots against that, it would have blown him up. So,
right. I was just expecting him to have. Yeah. Looks like he didn't use Genesis over there. Decided to play that Shimmers of Silver. So, Shimmers of Silver and Genesis, those are 2 very powerful auras out. But the Viscera player has been able to pressure Prism down right now, 16 to 23. At this point, does Viscera do ignore the auras, or is it still worth trying to double back and stop that board presence from getting overwhelming?
The way I would look at this game right now is I would say, okay, if it's convenient for me, I'll swing into the Genesis. If not, number 1 priority is just pressuring life. That's just the absolute priority because, I mean, at 16 life, the auras don't mean much if the Prism player doesn't have anything to pitch to give it go again. So we're really getting down to the point where Prism doesn't want to drop below 8 life, 8 to 6, because then they can't hold any cards, basically. And we do have a very expensive Spellbound Creepers play into a... Yeah, it cost a whole blue. And the big thing to note on Oath of the Arknight, it says Runeblade attack, not attack action card, so it actually does affect the Rosetta Thorn.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see what that last card in hand is. Is this something that he's going to play in, or is he going to choose to put in an arsenal and save it for later? If he does, he will lose those boots. So hopefully it was worth all of these things he's pumping into it. Now, with one card in hand, you wouldn't think there'd be too many lines to consider, but Viserai, having Vexing Quill hand, having Bloodsheath Skeleton, there are possibilities. If that's nada, then it could be something he wants to play for big. If it's an attack, he could attack with it. Get Rune Chance, not have Rune Chance.
Yeah, even with like one card hands, I mean, there's a lot of intricacies with this matchup, because let's say it's a Revel in Runeblood, right? If he plays it, then he's saying, okay, he has to swing Rosetta into Prism, right? Which may not be his goal. Because if he played the Revel and swung into Genesis, then the Rune Chance would discard, and there was no point in playing it.
Yeah,
but
it looks like after all the math. Yeah, Shane has decided that he would rather go at Prism's face than tackle those auras.
All right, so it's very important that the Prism player gets the Genesis trigger and draws a yellow to pitch for a shield here, or he's gonna start falling behind really quickly.
Yeah, he was able to knock out Shane's boots, though, which at least negates the pure force of his turns, but looks like he is... oh, was that 2 draws?
That is 2 cards.
Yeah, looks like the players are working out what to do here.
Yep. So if the opponent's going to be able to pick, then it's definitely going to be it's going to be the blue, because you don't want to give him the yellow to allow to make a shield.
Yeah, I concur. That second Shimmers of Silver can mean a very strong board presence, but at this point, not being able to attack with those auras is probably the more useful thing for the Viserai player. Yeah, what making his decision. Just want to thank everybody again who's watching, both on the Card Guyz YouTube channel and the Andy Modell TCG channel. We all appreciate all of you for spending your time watching these competitive Team League games with us.
I guess, are they doing a judge call on it, or?
Let's see. I'm not seeing anything in the judge calls section of the Discord right now. And it looks like their game room doesn't have anyone in. Oh, whoa.
They're rewinding to be able to see which card was on top. Is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna have to rewind again.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone on the stream.
Okay, so they came to the conclusion that Soul Shield was the card on top off of the Genesis trigger, which is going to allow the Prism player to make a shield, give all the auras go again, and come in for 6 damage, it seems.
Yeah, I think if get a judge, it would be ruled as a hidden card error, and there would be a bit more choice available to Shane. But because they can rewind time, it looks like the players have decided to just let things go the way it does. All right, and now it looks like Prism is able to present 5 auras attacking, one of which gets the bonus from the Shimmers of Silver, and I think the choice to put the bonus on Piercing Reality was a good one. Piercing Reality is normally the last one you hit out of those 3, so being able to pump it up makes it slightly more threatening, but it'll still have that pump if Shane decides to destroy Genesis or the Shimmers of Silver.
Absolutely. And just the fact that the Viscera player is not instantly taking all 6 of this damage. Okay, I guess he is good. So that means that he does have something to come back with. He will trigger 2 rune chant generations on the incantations, which does allow Prism to play the ALS if she pleases.
Yeah, we do know that he doesn't have any Swarming Gloom Veils. We've seen all 3 of those so far. So the number of rune chants or auras generated in the turn probably isn't that big a factor, but still those 2 rune chants prevent 2 additional arcane damage. They can represent boosts from the Bloodsheath Skeleton when that comes in. And here we have a Mordred Tide, which means that this is going to be a heavy-hitting turn.
Ooh. There it is.
Yeah, it looks like Alex decided to save that.
Yeah, that was a good move, because if he would have done it off the incantation trigger, then the Mordred Tide would have definitely been salvaged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shane now having to figure out, does he try and generate more rune chants just to attack the ALS, or is he going to just write off the turn? You want to get as much value of that Mordred Tide as you can, even if you're not able to target anything else.
Depending on the turn here, it's very possible that he just goes ahead and pops Vexing Quillhand to go ahead and get a 3rd rune chant out of it, to have 5 in the back if he has a Sonata, and then swing the Rosetta just to bank it. Just really depends on what's in the Viscera player's hand.
Yeah, and it looks like that's exactly what Shane's thinking about, putting his cursor over that Vexing Quillhand.
Because the Viscera player's life total is not at the point to where a Merciful Retribution is going to be extremely impactful. So you're really just trying to maximize damage. Everything you can do to maximize that damage.
Yeah, Shane really thinking through all his lines.
I know sometimes it seems like the Viscera player is taking a long time, but one thing that is definitely goes with playing Viscera is, if you take the combination of an attack action card and Rattle Bones and become the Arc Knight, you can literally play any card in your deck or any attack in your graveyard. And so these longer turns really, there's just so many lines within the deck within just a few cards, and it can really take some time to go through them all for sure.
Yeah, they say that Kano is one of those decks where you really have to have all that stuff in your head in order to make it work. Viserai nowadays, with the amount of things that he can do, probably has as much things you got to think of every time you make a turn, especially with some of the tutors in the deck, the stuff that can get from the graveyard, as you were saying. Right here, we're seeing him pitch that Become the Arc Knight.
It's okay. Okay, so I know why he did that. So he's sending the 5 Arcane because Alex only has 1 card in hand, which should just scream out that he has a Rattlebones.
Yeah, Rattlebones can be played as an instant, so that does happen after, or to give him the action point from the go again, or on the Rattlebones. So he will be able to do something after that Arclight Sentinel is popped.
Yep, and then he'll go and get a Swarming. Yep. And then he'll Swarming, which will present 6 more, or because you get the 2 off of Rattlebones, and then that'd be 6. So that should be it's lethal damage, but the present player has a little bit of armor to use, so it'll get him down to 1 or 2.
Yeah. All right, so we have 4 from the Swarming Gloomveil and 4 Rune Chants coming first.
It should only be firing 2 of them. Unless I missed some.
No, 2 Rune Chants came in behind the meet and greet, and the other 2 came in behind the Rattlebones.
Yep, you're right. So actually, I think that is game, because that'll be 4, and then it'll be another 6. That's 10, 14, and he can block 3 with a card, so that's 11, and then 2 with Skull Cap, and 1 with Tunic. That should be exact. Should be exactly lethal. So the real question is if that card in Alex's hand is a blue, which is more than likely not. It's more than likely a Light Illusionist card, like any like yellow aura to throw in for Genesis. But if it is a blue, this could have been prevented by stopping the arcane damage.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be taking all 4 of that arcane damage. Right now, there is still 4 physical being presented, followed by around 6 with the Rosetta Thorn and Rune Chants threatened. And you're right, it's a yellow aura, able to prevent 2 arcane damage, or 1 arcane damage and bring in the boots. This will prevent the on, though, so allowing him to stop 1 more of those Rune Chants coming in later. But that's still, as I believe you predicted, exactly lethal.
Yep.
All right, so that's game 3 of tonight's marathon between the Card Guys and the Hyperloops. Shane from the Hyperloops taking the win over Alex from the Card Guys.
That was a really good play on the end there with the Viscera player. Too many people play the Mordred and they're like, oh man, I just have to play this Become the Arc Knight and go read the runes and save up this Rune Chant, you know? So great job on him by popping the Vexing and getting in that Arcane to turn in on the Rattlebones. That was a great play.
Yep. If I had a blue there, I lived.
Yeah. I thought you would have saw it. It made Rattlebones so obvious when he did it, but you know.
It didn't matter when
exactly.
When he played Mordred, I'm playing the Arclight Sentinel. Especially when it allows me to keep a card in my hand to activate Genesis for next turn. Tempo's in my favor if he doesn't have Rattlebones there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But if I have a blue in my hand, then I can stop that and whole play from happening. So he told me he made a soul read.
A soul read.
All right, so the next game that we're having, when the players are ready, is going to be Josh Lau against Quinn Wongkew. I know this game was originally scheduled for 11, so hopefully both the players are going to be able to start an hour early. I'm not too sure. I'm messaging Quinn right now.
I am 3 for 3 on bad matchups now. Somehow.
Yeah, you are.
Somehow it just keeps happening. Not that I played that one very well.
I mean, you know,
he drew poorly and still kicked my butt. So, well, not poorly, but he didn't draw Revel, which ends the game.
Well, he drew it at the very end and pitched with it, if that counts.
I
He
guess,
technically
yeah.
beat you with it, right?
There you go. There you go.
Oof.
All right.
Oh, you forgot your tunic counter on turn 2, and you missed a merciful
missed-
retribution
I
trigger.
missed Merciful and 2
Ah.
tunics.
Yeah. Oof.
When I said I was going to be awake tonight, I lied. Apparently. I always miss triggers on TTS. I just can't, for the life of me,
It's something about it. It's different.
remember it when I'm
Yeah.
playing online.
It is something different.
It really is. Like I move my hands around. Like I'm always touching my cards, like because I'm like OCD about where they are, and so like it's always reminding me to do everything, and just not having that ability on online just really hurts.
That's literally why I play Viscera. You don't have to remember tunic. Ever.
Yeah, when he flipped over Viscera, I was like, "Here we go."
Yeah.
This is good.
By the way, did y'all see that vexing quill hand mat from the Dallas Battle Harden?
Oh, that looks so nice.
It was something. Whew.
They snapped on that one.
Yeah, why didn't I get that?
I know, right?
I got Voltaire.
How could you?
So what do we think Josh's opponent's playing here?
Well, if Josh said that he thinks that the guy Kwong might be playing Bolton, but we'll see.
That'd be
Have we
cool.
already seen all 3 of the big decks?
Yeah. No,
No,
Prism.
we haven't seen Prism on their side.
Okay.
Or Starbow.
Or
Right.
Star. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Saving the heavy hitters for late. I love it.
Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny what Quinn will be playing, but I'm pretty sure those were determined before they scheduled the matchups.
Yeah.
Well, if if it tells you anything, Josh changed his mat to Dorinthia. So
Yeah, Josh
Give him
is,
a
I
little
think,
switcheroo play
pretty
later.
well known for his play.
You know what? The funny thing that my opponent said to me right when we started our match? He was like, "I figured you'd be playing Prism since y'all played Prism at Indy."
What? No,
I was like,
nobody played Prism at Indy.
"That's what I said." He was like, "Oh, I must have been thinking wrong." I was like, "You thought I was gonna be playing Prism." So you
That's
played
accidental
Viscera,
win.
and then accidentally guessed correctly.
That's funny.
I played
That's
Prism
funny.
once since Monarch format.
That is
I
hilarious.
believe Void Circuit is in here
Yep.
now.
Yep, that's Quinn.
Awesome. Have promote him.
Quinn's a really strong player. I think I played him at in U.S. Nationals. Really strong player.
Yeah, Quinn, I think, got a top 8 in Nationals, if I recall correctly. Or
Uh,
maybe that
right-
was, no,
No,
that was one
it
of the
was right-
callings.
Yeah, right after our game, I won our match, and then he dropped from Nationals, and then played in the calling the next day and top 8'd it. So
Right, yep, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The calling at the Nationals event in Orlando. That's where he got
Yep.
his top 8.
that's it. He was playing OG Bravo, if I remember correctly. Trying to fatigue all the Lightning Briars.
Is he the one you fatigued?
He is. That is the one.
Briar
Wait,
fatigued
you
the Bravo.
fatigued a
I
Bravo
fa-
player?
Yeah, I got him on an Evergreen loop with my Channel Mount Heroic Briar deck, and I fatigued him when he was trying to fatigue me.
I'd pay money to see something like that. That's crazy.
Yep, worked out.
Look at these people choosing their mats.
That's bougie.
I don't know it.
Super bougie.
Oh, Mavrian. Oh,
Oh,
he was-
Oh,
okay,
we're
so
about to
that's
play
Bravo.
Starbow.
Uh,
That's Bravo. Calling it. OG
Oh, it's
Bravo.
100% Star.
Yeah. OG.
All right, there it is.
Oh, all right. All right.
All right, so here we have Bravo Star of the Show on Quinn Wongkew from the Hyperloops against Dorinthia Ironsong on Josh Lau from the Guyz. And this is going to be our 4th game out of 4 tonight. So thanks to all of you viewers who've been sticking around watching them. We've been having a good time over here in the booth for sure. And these have been some really exciting games.
They for sure have. Yeah.
So I know there's been a lot of talk lately about Dorinthia and the Everfest cards that boost the one-handed weapons. Dorinthia going with axes. Dorinthia as opposed to Dom. What does Josh tend to favor into Starvo? Do you think Dawnblade is still the way to go, or is it time to mix it up and come in with those hatchets?
It really depends. He did some testing. He went all the way to trying sabers instead of axes. Turns out that was not the answer. So he is bouncing between axes and Dawnblade. It really depends, right? Because with Viscera on the loose, if you play axes, you're basically just getting a 0% chance to win on that match because they're just going to OTK you out and you're just never fast enough. But with Dawnblade, at least you have a chance into both, although it's probably definitely not favorable into Starvo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dawnblade has the advantage of being able to skill itself up at least. The axes are really pretty fixed for how much damage they can do in a turn.
Right.
Bravo also doesn't play very many defense reactions, if any defense reactions, and so it can be quite beneficial for the Dawnblade to get over really easily with his attack reactions. Makes the blocking math really weird on the Starvo side. So it'll come down to whether his opponent has any knowledge of how to play against Dorinthia as well. So that could be a factor here.
Yeah, Dorinthia definitely not. Making sure you block her how you do is very different from blocking most other heroes. And well, of course, she was a very popular OG hero from the one set. She's not been as popular, so many players don't really remember how to deal with her.
Nathan, has Josh told you what his win percentage is like against Starvo with Dorinthia?
He hasn't given me a percentage, but it definitely was not as high as his Bolton.
Yeah.
So he definitely, in this matchup, he definitely prefers playing Bolton. But it just depends. If I had to lean one way or the other, I would probably say that Josh is going to run Axis here. But maybe he's feeling a little nostalgia and wants to go with the Dawnblade.
Yeah, I'm counting 5 cards in his little stack there, so that's probably 4 equipment and the Dawnblade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. Dynamo with the Dawnblade?
Yeah, what's going on there?
We
Is that
haven't
a mistake?
Well, okay. Actually, it's not, right? Because
Well, they don't have to be 2 separate weapons, do they?
no, they do not have to be separate weapons. But the idea, right, is especially in this matchup, you know that the Starvo player does not want to block, right? So you have to ask yourself the question: what purpose is the Refraction Bolters really playing when all your Warrior's Valor, all your whatever go again cards are actually hitting? So what the Dynamos could provide is 4 to 5 to 6 life over the course of the game that allows, like in that Briar matchup that we saw at the end, you know, imagine if the Briar had 6 more life.
Yep.
Right? And how much different that match would have played out because he could have taken some damage, kept a full grip, and then really...
Yep, I agree.
Right? And how maybe that's the the point of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that a lot of Dorinthia's cards do block for 3, so that 4th block can be enough to prevent that Frostbite token from Winter's Wail.
Absolutely.
All right, and here we see the Domination from Ironsong Determination, the potential on-hit from Warrior's Valor. So this Dawnblade coming in strong right now for 5.
Unfortunately, 5 is about the weakest number he can be coming in for because of Rampart plus 3 block plus Crown. But this does still turn on Reprise, so I'm going to assume he has some sort of effect in hand to trigger the Reprise.
Yeah, pitching Glint the Quicksilver usually implies that you've got something, but it looks like that's just going to Arsenal.
Interesting.
Great move playing the Rampart as well. It really allows for some flexibility on the hands. And then Crown of Seas as well allows you to block straight up and then be able to account for like a Singing Steel Blade or something of that nature.
Right.
Yeah, the
This
Autumn
is a
Touch
yellow
coming in now
Autumn
for...
Touch.
Yeah, it's 8, Dominate, and go again. And then the Quinn will have to... Does he come in with the Winter's Wail, pitching the ice card? Or is he just going to leave it in Arsenal for Crown of Seeds?
Looks like we're taking some damage here.
Uh-oh.
I mean, Josh has got something to hit back with. Either that or he wants to block the Winter's Wail. But he would have saved the Dynamo for that, I would assume.
Yeah.
Unless he had a sink.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Defense reaction.
If I was a betting man, that card in Arsenal is a Steelblade Shunt, and he's going to wait till Tunic counter number 3.
I think your betting mindset is going to be correct.
But we have a go again source somewhere here, obviously, because he doesn't have access to bolters. So maybe it is a glint. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's pitched 2 glints, and then he just had his 3rd there. So that is quite the draw.
Yeah. 5 looking a whole lot better without a Arsenal on his opponent's side of the board.
Okay, yeah, the draw. So he's going to activate Bracers, which means...
Coming in for 6, right?
Yeah, it'll be 6. And it's also important to note that basically makes Bravo safe from overpower because you're just blatantly admitting that you don't need the pitch. You still have to account for route with 2 floating. But it just depends on if he didn't block the first. I don't imagine he's blocking the second.
Yeah. And if he is, then I feel like that's a missed opportunity to block on the first and try to get the cards out of Josh's hand.
Yeah, because if the Warriors glint, right, and you block the first, you still prevent a card draw either way, so it's a net neutral, right? Because they're just getting the card off a glint instead of supremacy. So.
And if he wasn't able to get over the block, if he had nothing to get over the block, then he doesn't get to attack second, and he doesn't get his Dynamo counter off.
Yeah, but the fact it's taking this long probably means that he has the fuse.
For sure.
I don't know if he's trying. If this is the turn where he's going to Ironhide legs, Crater, Rampart, and Crown. I mean that's covers 6, and it only cost a blue, so would be a strong play.
Doesn't have the Crown.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yep. So he would have to give Tunic, and that's not going to happen this early.
Yep. He'd have to give a card plus another card to pitch for the Rampart. And looks like he's just going to give him the fuse.
He just gave him the fuse. He said, "Here you go."
That's all right. Keep in mind that's only for 7. So if Josh has any sort of reprise card in hand, then that could have been real bad.
It was a gamble, but I mean at the same time, if his attack was like a blue Autumn's Touch, right, then it's definitely not worth it. The go again plus 2 dominate, because the dominate doesn't matter, right? Because nobody's blocking a blue Autumn's Touch.
Mm-hmm.
But there it goes. I mean, already Dynamos have provided 2 health, right?
Yep.
So we can just keep a counter going and say, okay, at the end of the game, if he had X less health, how would it be a lot different? And we can really gauge the difference between those refraction bolters and dynamos.
I think you made the right assessment. Throughout the course of this game, his opponent is not blocking much. So I think the dynamo is going to do quite a lot of work. What is this, slice and dice? So that's first one gets +1, second one gets +3.
Yes. However,
no go agains at the moment.
Yeah, and we've seen all 3 glint the Quicksilvers. So, are there any other attack action cards that can give that go again?
Blade Runner.
Yeah,
Blade Runner only works on one-handed weapons, though, doesn't it?
Does it?
Or am I wrong?
I don't know.
I think you're right. I think it is one-handed weapons.
Yeah, it looks like that slice and dice was just the slice.
Yeah. Well, it was the infamous, Dory pitches a red to swing the sword. Like, she has nothing. Right?
Yeah, Blade Runner is one-handed, by the way.
It is one-handed. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So the answer there was seeing Steelblade was the only card because it could have fetched the other glints.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But that requires reprise. So.
Yeah, and Quinn chose not to block with cards from hand here.
Right. Okay, it looks like we do not have fuse.
Good news for Josh.
Yep. Typically, the Bravo players waste 0 time slapping those cards down, pulling that hero up.
Yeah, just coming in here with the Winter's Wail. It will be frosty on hit, so...
This is the only downside of a Starvo. When you don't have the triggered ability, your attacks are usually pretty mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Now...
Oh, who called it?
Who called it?
He already used the Arsenal card. He already sold that last hand, so...
Oh, it's the same. It still works.
I knew y'all were going to say something, so I kept it in mind.
Well, I call carryover.
Hit and run's another go again card, by the way.
Yep, sure is. However, the +1 on the blue variety does not apply here because it is only the first swing.
Yeah, hit and run, definitely signaling that go again. You're not hiding it in your hand.
Right.
Bravo just does not like blocking, so if your Dawn Blades keep hitting, you're pretty happy. So, whoa.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, this triggers reprise, but...
that was from Arsenal.
That was from Arsenal.
Oh, never mind
this
then.
This turn is over.
This one is done.
Actually, route here is really good.
If he had a route, that would be
because then he has to pay for it again. Like, that's pretty good.
That would be really good. And then the second time he paid for it would trigger reprise.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do find it interesting that he didn't use the extra resource to rampart.
Well, does route the reprise effect? Is that the bounce? Does it get +3?
Correct.
So
you're right.
So he wouldn't have gotten the bounce.
Yep.
Pulse of Candlehold and Winter's Bite. Pulse of Candlehold being one of the best pulses you can keep in your hand, since the ice count is typically the highest count in the deck.
Yep.
Yeah, though here it is just an evergreen, so similar to the Blue Autumn's Touch, it's only coming in for 7 Dominate Go again.
Yep. So that just means that if Josh has any type of a hand here, we will just see a... and Candlehold's the only card in hand, so he'll just throw Dynamos in front of it and call it a day. If he has a good hand, but if he has a bad hand, he'll be more than willing to give a card here.
And you guys think about that staunch response. Let's talk about that for a second. Bravo respecting Dorinthia and playing staunch responses into this matchup and also reducing the amount of times he's going to be fusing throughout the game by doing so.
I mean, I think it's definitely the correct play if the Dory player's on Dawnblade. But if you're against the Axis, it's very bad. Yeah. Very bad.
Yep. Getting 4 block out of this means he probably, yeah, because he knew he wasn't going to be able to swing with the hammer because of the pulse. Arsenaling the pulse. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a choice, choosing to keep it in hand for the potential more aggression, or being able to use Crown of Seeds. Here we have a very powerful turn coming in. Go again, slicing from Spoils of War, slice and dice. So this might be a time where actually being able to block with more cards for Starvo is worth it.
Yep. And depending on what that arsenal card is, this could be a pretty good turn.
You mean that Steelblade Shunt?
Or this time, I think it might be the Singing Steelblade that might have been signaled earlier.
Definitely could be. Definitely could be.
How about the 0 cost +3?
Iron Song Response?
Response, yeah. That card would be really good right here. Get him up to 9 so that the next sword swing comes in for a lot and still have the 1 resource to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be really, really good right here. I'm ready to see a dice. We've seen the slice, but we have not seen the dice yet.
Well, he's basically admitting he has a D-React. Yep, because he's...
Yeah, so Staunch Response and the shield blocking for 8.
You can still get over by 1 with a plus
Alright.
3.
Is it the response?
But he's got Crown of Seeds active, so it won't matter. It won't matter.
Yeah, but it's a whole nother card.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But do you do it?
No.
Looks like not.
Yeah. That's, the first one was a blue Staunch, wasn't it?
No, they were both red.
Are they both red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 2 Staunches out of the way. Still a pretty even life total, even game. So this game is, I think this game is going the way that Josh wants it to go at the moment.
Yeah, keeping life totals close makes it so that Awakening's not going to be nearly as powerful.
For sure. Josh also not getting his counter off the Dynamo that turn. He'll have his Tunic counter up for another Shunt coming up for next turn. The Shunt right now would be really awkward for him. There's a chance he just doesn't care about the Frostbite right now, though, if he's got a decent hand.
Yeah, because in a lot of instances, it's just going to be the difference of does he activate Rage 4 Bracers or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he will have his Tunic.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think he's going to care about the Frostbite. It's whether he can use his entire hand next turn is what he's probably deciding.
And we are seeing at least 1 card block. And he's taking the 1 damage, still getting the Frostbite, but just deciding that card wasn't coming out anyway.
Yellow Warrior's Valor. Sharpened Steel. This is for 8, I believe.
That's 8.
Still has 1 floating, I believe. Or no, he paid 2 and then 1, so he had nothing floating at the moment other than the Tunic counter.
Yeah, that Tunic counter could still get a lot of goodies out of Arsenal.
Very relevant. And if that card is what we think, like what I was calling last turn, then the same threat is being posed at the moment. Except this one gets over over the defense reaction this time.
We haven't seen any turn timbers. You think he's running those soon?
No, I don't think so. Unless he's playing. Was Michael Hamilton playing turn timbers?
No, it was actually Sink Below. Believe it or not.
Okay, so that's would be my decision, or my guess would be that it's like a Sink Below. Because Sink Belows are actually quite good in the deck. They actually represent a Crown of Seeds effect, which is pretty relevant.
Right.
This does look very different, though, from the Michael Hamilton list. A lot of cards that I'm not seeing that would indicate he's following that strategy.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't seen any of like Glacial Footsteps or anything like that.
Yeah, he looks like he's on more of the
Oof.
the casino variety.
That's 8 right there. So if this is if this card in Arsenal, nope. Dang. That's a Steel Blade Shunt then. I think we pegged it now. Gonna use that shunt right now on this weapon.
All right, it looks like Quinn did have the fuse for Bravo, chose to block out instead and just coming in with the Winter's Wail.
Yeah, he's playing more conservatively. Doesn't want Josh getting any of that advantage from his Dawn Blade counter.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm noticing, the stack pitching is really good on Starvo and do you think maybe he's just trying to run Dory out of threats and then on the second rotation just start fusing just nonstop and try to close it out that way?
Yeah, that is a strategy. Looks like Dory has, or Josh has 41 cards in his deck. Quinn has 51 right now, so there's still a lot to go, though.
Very real problem. Very, very real problem. Running out of cards. There's a Heartify Indle that's going to gain him a life if he's behind, right? She is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We got another Slice and Dice. This is what, +1 to the first one, +2 to the next one for yellow, I believe.
Yeah.
So another
So
pretty
3+4
attack
coming in.
here. Yep.
I'm gonna
Still
talk-
got that Arsenal card.
I'm going to talk to him after the game, but I don't know how I feel about Slice and Dice. Kind of like an all or nothing card, you know?
Yeah, it hasn't been doing anything on the most powerful effect yet.
Like Andy said, it's just been slicing, no dicing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, took some damage there at least. Got a hit through. But even then, the Slice and Dice did +1.
Well, that
So-
basically means he has an Okanold, right?
I mean, it's something.
Well, we got that
And
fuse.
And it's definitely not a regular fuse.
Yeah, those
That
are all
fourth card
blue.
is-
This
yeah,
is
that
an
other card's
Okanold if I ever
powerful.
saw one.
And you saw
Knew
it.
Yeah, for sure an Okanold.
Oh, yep.
All right, so here we have Dominate and Go again.
11.
Yep. And if it hits, then it's 2 cards at random in the bottom of Josh's deck at the order of Josh's choosing.
Show us that Steel Blade Shunt in Arsenal.
I don't know if that would even matter right now.
Oh,
Yeah, we
probably
see-
not, but I just want to be right.
Well, he's
Well, we've
still
seen
shunned-
yellow
he
and blue
shunted
shunt
from
so
hand.
far.
He shunted from hand with this card in Arsenal, so I don't think it's...
Yeah,
Shunt.
if it was 2, that's exactly what you do, right?
Well, you would shunt from Arsenal instead of from hand, right? If you were using just one shunt.
Why? Just to replace it?
Yeah.
But it's the same effect. It's not like you're worried about Starvo having Reprise.
Well, no, it just... I mean, there's no reason not... I mean, like... I don't know. It feels like it keeps a more of a guessing game
I mean, that's
for
true.
your
Yeah.
opponent
Yeah, that's true.
when you're cycling your Arsenal, but yeah, I don't know if he's going to just choose to
Yeah.
take most of this here, or...
Steel
this is-
Blade Shunt.
This is the card that's going to hurt Josh the most in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, in general, you have the choice. Do you try and block, save yourself some life, or do you just say, I'll take 2 cards in my hand and I'll see what I can do next turn?
Oh, well, the 5 here makes me think he has shunt.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it.
Really debating. So he's
Yeah,
either
it's a
doing a
perfect
good
block.
bluff. Oh, yep, it's
Look at
red.
that.
Right.
Perfect block for 11. Look at that.
Bang.
So we've seen shunts of all 3 colors coming in on Josh's deck. So that is a heavy devotion to those defense reactions. But being able to pull this on the Okanold looks like it's been worth it. And Josh over here just saying, I'll write off my next turn. I'll put this card in Arsenal. I don't care about that Frostbite.
And that's kind of a scary thing to see a red Warrior's Valor go in front of that Icy Hammer.
Yes.
Because
I was
Because
thinking the same thing.
yeah, because you're like, what other card would you rather have in Arsenal?
It's got to be like a supremacy
Like,
or something.
It's either that, a twinning blade, you know, a spoils of war. I mean, there's not a lot of cards that are better than a Red Warrior's Valor. So
Absolutely.
hopefully the Starvo player, you know, saw that and because that scared the crap out of me.
I was thinking the same thing. It's actually a yellow one and a red one hit the bin that turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Warrior's Valor, one of those cards, if you've been playing Blitz a lot, not as powerful in Kasai, very powerful for Dorinthia. Because Dorinthia, you need to hit that on hit on the first weapon, so it's either the go again's worth it or it's not.
Josh's opponent here with a 5-card hand looks like he's not fusing because he hasn't slapped it down on the table. That's really good news after blocking out an Oakenold, because you don't want them to just keep smacking you in the face with those over and over again. That's when you lose the game.
I haven't seen a Channel Lake here, so like maybe Channel here would be pretty alright.
Possible he pitched one earlier in the game. Can't quite remember.
He has to be running them simply because it's ice 3 block.
Oh yeah, you don't play this deck without Channel Lake, that's for sure. And if you do, I'll say this bar none, you're wrong. Because I have for sure seen Icy Encounter in his deck, and I can think of an easy replacement if there's no Channel Lakes in the deck. But yeah, I don't know why his opponent's thinking a long time about this turn here. If you have Channel Lake in the hand, then that's for sure coming out.
It looks like that. 2 and a hammer, yep.
I mean,
Ooh.
Well,
we're seeing that Channel Lake come into that pitch zone.
Pummel? We got a pummel coming?
Well, right here, this is coming in for 8 with the Frostbite.
For sure.
Well, the Volthaven was from Arsenal, correct?
It was a 5-card hand. He crowned.
It was a 5-card hand.
Yeah. So he doesn't have an Earth card in hand.
Okay, so what this is saying is that he has the fuse.
Just no attack.
Just no attack.
Yep.
That's what it's saying, because I mean, literally any other play would be better if that wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm. Josh knows this is probably either pummel or this is what he's got.
I mean, you don't even care about the pummel here because it's not discarding card.
That's right.
True, but if he tries to block around and gets pummeled and the Frostbite messes him up, that could be an issue. But damage is going to be a problem.
At 8, I think it's either you give him the whole hand or nothing kind of thing, because
Dory
can't do nothing with one card.
With life being so close now, there's no reason for him not to just keep his hand here. Got the tunic counter too, so he can play around the Frostbite easily.
It's really important that Josh has a big turn here, because you know that the Starboard player has the fuse. So.
Hey, Warrior's Valor.
Yeah, that's why he blocked with it, because he had another one.
I like that card. We have not seen a single reprise reaction yet, have we? We've seen a glint for Just Go Again.
That is it. That is the only reprise.
That's it, yeah. Ooh, Nature's Path plus Warrior's Valor. Which one is this one? Is this +3?
Holy shit.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, wow.
All right.
He said, block this.
So that's coming in for 3/3/1. That's 7 plus 3 is 10.
The next one's gonna come in for 6, I believe. With if he uses Brave Forge, then it'll be 7.
Yeah, it'd be 7 with the Brave.
Even with a full hand, 10 can be difficult to block sometimes with all the 2s in your hand.
He could get there with Crown and Armor if he wants to, which
I'm
pretty sure he will. Because Nature Path is the extra swing, right?
Let's see.
Or is that the
If it
Arsenal
hits
one?
and you have no cards in your arsenal, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an action card, put it face down in your arsenal.
Oh, yeah. You can't let that hit, right?
Oh, his opponent has Awakening pitching that, so he's definitely committing to blocking.
Crown, ramp, 2.
Let's see, he needs to block 10. So he's got 8 more to go. 2 3 blocks and a 2 block in hand, or 2 3 blocks and a
2
2
3 block
armor.
and iron hides, or
Ooh.
just give it all.
Yeah.
That works. All right.
That would be 10.
Yep.
Herein lies one of the problems with Narinthia.
Yeah, so here we're trading 3 cards for 3 cards, basically. Now, in there was a
because
crippling
then-
crush, but we saw that awakening get
still gets
pitched.
to attack.
Though it looks like that's just going into Arsenal.
Yep. Looks like he's committing to a kind of a burnout plan. Anytime Josh represents something, he's blocking. Anytime he doesn't represent something, then he's able to attack back. With how many defense reactions and that Josh is playing right now, it's highly likely after that turn of 3 cards, 3 really good cards, this hand is going to be pretty medium.
Yeah, though we've still only seen 1, I believe, Iron Song Determination and 1... crap, what's it called?
Supremacy.
That's the one. Though there's number 2
There's
in the
the
pitch
second
zone.
one. Yep.
The infamous pitch red.
Swing for 3.
Yep.
There's another awakening.
Yeah, it looks like Quinn is committing to not awakening. Unless he got the 3 instants in 2 turns.
Man, he could have taken the 3, played awakening, got 2 seismic surge tokens. Talk about value.
Would have gotten 1 seismic surge.
Oh, if he fused, it'd be 2.
What you
Yeah,
gonna
it
get with
looks like
2?
He did take 2 damage
Icy
right there,
encounter.
so...
Oh.
You can't get icy encounters. Like
Oh yeah, it's not a guardian
card.
card. You literally can't get anything.
You can't get anything.
Oh, there's a
but
fuse.
the
Look
2
at that.
cards, yeah, Pulse of Eisenloft, the defense reaction, and an Oakenold, which will also
What a
get that full
monster.
fuse.
What a
So that's-
monster.
11, Dominate, and Go again.
But since
Those-
Josh only represented a 3 attack, there's a high probability he has some sort of defense reaction. Whether he can block 11, though, that's another problem.
Yeah, it has been a long time since those Valiant Dynamos have lost their counter. They've been out of commission for a while, and the Skull Cap is not enabled right now with both players at the same life total.
Yep. He does have Tunic counter for the shunt, though, which will help if he has it. How many red shunts have we seen? Just the 1, or
I think
We've
it's
seen
just the
one
one.
of each color.
what?
One of
yeah.
each.
You know, there's 3 of those bad boys in the deck.
Yeah, you can almost guarantee that there's at least 1 or 2 blues and at least 3 reds because you would always maximize the red before you put in a yellow.
Okay, so the 5 block here means there's a red shunt in his hand.
That's it. Or from Arsenal with the tunic counter.
Yep.
Look at. I tell you what, it's like I know something.
Bang.
Yeah, that is the second red shunt into the Oakenold. And it looks like Quinn is coming in for just another attack afterwards. 4 from Arsenal with Go again.
Look at that. That's spicy.
Was that in Arsenal?
Yeah.
I think the Oakenode was from Arsenal. I think this is from hand.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it looked like it came
Yeah.
with the flip. I could have been wrong.
No.
I'm almost
I
certain this
don't
is from hand.
Okay. Well, he definitely doesn't want to pitch the pulse for icy
Right.
hammer, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
4 damage is 4 damage right now.
But then again, if that was the case, if he was intended on keeping the pulse in hand, he would probably just arsenal the lightning surge.
No, I think that actually was from Arsenal. Looking at my
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought for sure he flipped that Oakenold out of Arsenal. Give him 3, take 1. Turn on Skull Cap.
Yep.
Oh.
Look at that. He said, you are not going to turn. Once again, important thing to note, he blocked with a Spoils of War. So what's
Mhm.
going in Arsenal?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Josh says you can have this Frostbite back. This is going into Arsenal.
I really like
Huh.
Quinn's strategy though here. Like, okay, I'll just block unless I have a fused Okanold. I mean, it's really working because I guarantee if you look at the deck count, he's probably up 20 cards.
Look
It's a
at the
lot.
deck count.
41,
It's,
41 to 28.
Yeah.
It's what?
41 to 28.
Oh wow, so 13 cards. So I mean, that's just huge, right? Now, granted, card for card, the Dory probably wins that value, but I mean that's 13 cards.
No, he hasn't played a single Crippling Crush.
That's
He
right.
hasn't played
He's
a
blocked
single.
with one. He's blocked with.
He's blocked with one.
Yeah.
Okay, so he still has one Okanold and 2 Crippling Crushes left in the deck, which are just.
Yeah, and he's not
I mean,
playing, and he always has a Pulsive Candlehold to get 2 Okanolds back. So.
Yeah, and who
Yeah,
knows
this
what
is,
he's been
rough.
hiding under his deck with the Crown of Seeds. There might be pulverizes we just haven't seen.
Yep.
Yeah, both of his Awakenings are on the bottom, which is good for Josh.
Is that just a 7 Evergreen, or did he fuse?
It is. It is just
Yep.
7.
Just 7.
7 being
good.
not a number just to laugh at, but still without the on-hit effects.
When you're comparing it to 11 Go Again into Ice Hammer,
Yeah, it's just 7.
it's just 7.
Oh.
I love Josh's Doge icon though, because it's like very. It just reminds me of him playing Durantia so much. Just staring at his opponent. Oh, this Evergreen.
I think
ahead.
the biggest thing to really get a gauge on who's winning this matchup is found on the equipment, and really seeing who's tapped into it and who hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think we
Dorinthia
can,
has a lot of
very clearly
on-hits,
see. Mm-hmm.
but Shane has been able to keep his stuff steady.
Yep, hasn't needed to tap into that Ironhide Boots or the Crater Fist yet. Still has a Rampart that's never going away.
Unless Josh is running one of those, what is it, Shatter?
Yes. He definitely could be running Shatter.
Yeah,
Oof.
choosing to block 6 over here, taking 1.
Get rid of
Blocking
a
with-
red Iron Song. Going in for 6.
Okay. I like that play though, because if he kept the Iron Song response, right, there's a good chance it's a dead card, and he has to, he just only draws 3.
Yep.
So definitely correct.
Josh taking a look at his discard pile over there, seeing what he has left in his deck.
Yep, he's got to make sure that those threats he was stacking earlier, like that Steelblade Supremacy, and there's a few other key, like Glint, the Quicksilver.
Yeah, we saw him pitch those early.
Yeah, a few key cards he pitched early. I'm sure he's looking forward to getting on the cycle number 2.
Ooh, and we have a turn
there's-
Timber.
There's your turn, Timber.
So that opens up a few more defense reaction possibilities from the Starvo player. Keeping that turn Timber hidden until now, you could have thought he was only running the Staunch Response.
Now that we know he's running the turn Timbers with how the deck count is, struggling to see how Josh is going to be able to push through in this match.
Well,
If
push
there's
through is
anybody
a good
can do
card.
it.
That gives Dominate.
If there's anybody that can do it, Josh is the one that can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Quinn coming in with another normal Evergreen for 7.
The old regular degular.
Regular. These are starting to represent 2 cards out of Josh's hand if he wants to block, so that's becoming a very relevant thing.
Yeah, that's a 2-for-1 trade. And we can also notice that Dynamos have been sitting over there in the corner, not doing anything for about 4 or 5 turns now.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they've blocked 2 this game.
2 or 3.
What happened to your counter?
Yeah, I lost it.
I lost it when it's been 15 minutes since they activated.
I've been too busy predicting Oakenolds and shunts.
You've been soul reading your opponents.
That's it. They're not even my opponents, and I still do it.
I think we've seen Josh play enough where we're like,
Right. Yep.
One card left in his hand. It's just going into the arsenal. Not many people can play on an efficiency level with Crown of Seeds and Rampart on the other side of the table.
Mm-hmm.
Just too efficient at blocking.
Yeah, basically
For
just
those that
removing
don't know. Yep,
2
go ahead.
card. I was just gonna say, removing 2 damage basically every turn for pitching cards that don't go away. It keeps the deck healthy.
Oh
and here
my
we see
God.
the remaining 2 Iron Song Determinations. So Josh is out of those right now.
He would rather have used a 3 block there than he only prevented 1 damage with one of those cards. So what was the theory behind instead of just using the Iron Song Determination here for free for +1 damage?
I don't have a clue because he even used the Tunic counter to swing, so he could have taken the 1 damage, pitched the card.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I have no idea. The only thing is, right? So one thing he has to balance in his deck right now when he starts getting low in cards is he needs to like have a good ratio between blues and like pump cards like Warrior's Valor, Spoils, things like that. So maybe he's trying to get out the fluff essentially, right? Because
Right.
what good is Iron Song Determination if you don't pump it with anything, right?
Yep.
The big thing though, using the Tunic counter basically admits that he doesn't have a shunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is
Iron
this
Song
just for
response
damage
here.
here?
Nothing visible to give go again
Oh
yet.
no.
Oh,
My goodness gracious. I think Josh is going to be happy with that trade, though. Trading an Iron Song for an entire turn timber.
not when you're 20 cards behind.
Yeah, Josh down to 21 cards in deck to Quinn's 38.
Yeah, 17 now. So in 2 turns, Quinn's got a 4-card lead. So he's averaging a 2-card lead in every turn.
Yeah, at this point though, we are definitely getting to that second cycle for Josh coming up soon. So those Glint the Quicksilvers showing up, that Steelblade Supremacy is going to come back.
Yep. Somebody in chat pointing out something. I think the biggest gauge to who's winning the game, they say, is when you look at the heroes on the table.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Ooh,
Okay, that's pretty good.
This is very spicy.
So now, do you think that Josh was happy with that turn timber out of the way? I think so. I think he's happy with getting the turn timber out with the Iron Song response.
But
Yeah,
what if he played it because there's another one in Arsenal?
There's
Well,
nothing in Arsenal right now.
We know we've seen 2 turn timbers and I believe 2 staunch responses, so likely one of each left.
Well, if that Rampart goes forward, then we know he doesn't have it.
Well, this is probably one of the last big turns he's going to have that's like
Yeah, Josh
very,
gotta make
very
this
powerful.
count.
He's got to make this one count.
But I think Quinn knows that he just has to lay his whole hand down here. If he doesn't,
Yeah, he needs to block 10 here. If I'm the Starvo and I have 10 block, I'm putting 10 block in front of this. Because he's representing 7. The only thing that gets over that is an overpower. And the likelihood that he has blue card plus overpower in hand here not likely. You could easily put Rampart, Legs, 2/3 blocks. I believe that's enough.
All right.
Yeah,
so he
we are
doesn't have
seeing
to
the
D-react.
shield and the legs and 2/3
And
blocks.
2/3 blocks.
Now, is this the third crippling crush or the second?
Second, I believe. Could be third though. I'm not sure.
Dang. I'm predicting things, Nathan.
Tell you what.
Tell you what.
And then just nothing. So
Gosh.
it seems like Josh built this Dory deck based off of like, okay, if you don't want to block me, then you're just gonna die. But now Quinn's like, okay, I'll block.
He's very, very happy to block.
Yeah, he's only came over one time.
That's one of those
Josh
things
had
about
Route there.
Starvo. Oh, route would have been amazing. We haven't seen a route yet, though.
Nope. He's already cycled through, I think. Fairly certain he should be on second cycle now. With 19 cards left in deck. This is not going in Josh's favor at the moment. Starvo able to keep up the pressure.
Yeah, that's one of the
enough.
That's one of the advantages of Starvo. On top of having this enormous card pool, the ability to dominate and give go again to whatever, he has really the option of being a very aggressive deck or a defensive deck. So he can choose, basically depending on the matchup, whether he wants to do a blocky strategy like we're seeing here, or one that leans more aggressive and holds on to those pulses.
Yeah, Starvo is a very resilient deck because it has the ability to play Crown of Seeds plus a shield. So like a lot of times you'll see like in Viserai versus Bravo matches where the Viserai gets the Starvo to 7 or less life, and then they have to spend 7 turns or 6 turns trying to kill them because they're so efficient at blocking.
Mm-hmm. Here we have the Yellow Warrior's Valor.
That's the main reason that Starvo is going to get suspended on May 2nd.
Amen.
The fact that they made a whole category just for him.
or Crown of Seeds is going to get suspended, one or the other.
Yeah, I do like the idea though. I think the Fab 2.0 being able to suspend a card is pretty neat, and it kind of allows them to just like shake things up on a whim and really allow people to like start exploring things. Really good.
So for the viewers who haven't seen the announcement, what is the difference between a suspension and the bans and all of that? What can Legend Story Studios do now with this?
Yeah, so the ban restricted announcement came out, or the 2.0 that falls under it is basically allows LSS to suspend a card, which at time of suspension they are required to list a date threshold of when the suspension is. So they could say, okay, for the weekend of the Pro Tour, nobody can play Starvo, right? But now they said that they're going to mainly use it for the Blitz format. To really shake things up for like each skirmish season. However, they did say that they are not just limited to Blitz format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so definitely something that we could see with Bravo Star of the Show, especially with this Pro Tour coming up.
Absolutely.
You think there's a reason that Josh, did he just want that blue out for blood out of his deck? Because he knew that his opponent was going to Crown of Seeds to block the remaining damage. So I'm assuming he did that just to get it out of his deck.
Yep. He's getting to the point to where he's going to start having a blue problem.
In my opinion, 6 is a better breakpoint than 7 right now in this strategy because of the Rampart plus Crown representing 2 block. I think 6 is where you want to be to get 2 cards out of your opponent. But this is the last Red Warrior's Valor. Unless it's followed up with something else in the hand there, then it's just going to keep getting blocked. Oh, there's the last dodge. Yikes. from
All right.
Arsenal too. So this is not getting through.
Yeah, I think we've seen 1 or 2 Iron Song determinations. So Josh, probably one of those coming up soon, or not determination. Sorry, response. If that reprise ends up getting in.
Somebody in chat says they could also suspend until a condition is met. For example, if they could ban a card until a hero Living Legends out, and then the card would come back.
That would
So,
certainly
for
be
instance,
interesting.
For instance, they could suspend Crown of Seeds until Starvo Living Legends out.
It's interesting.
Another
Yeah.
Steel Blade shot. About the only way that he's done damage this game.
All 20
So
of them.
with the ability to suspend cards, I think that the most important thing is like the frequency, right? I don't know if it almost feels like if it changes too often, it could be like just a hindrance and require too much from the players to keep up. But if they seldomly do it, I think it's a very big positive.
If you look at a game like Yu-Gi-Oh, their ban restricted limited list is a mile long, and they're still going strong. So I'm not saying they're doing it correctly. I'm just saying that it can be done. But yeah, it is a problem when you have a lot to keep track of on the ban list. Games definitely want to try to survive with minimal touching of their own cards after they print them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're seeing Quinn pitch his Awakening again. Looking at the life totals, he's probably not anticipating using it anytime soon. And there it looks like we do have that Iron Song response.
I believe that's the third one.
I believe so.
This coming in for 7. We get another sword swing for the first time in a year.
Will he remember his Dynamo counter because it's been so long?
Oh, I bet he's been waiting for that.
Blocking for 5, so 3 block would.
He won't forget. There he is.
He's very happy to get that counter off.
He's getting that life.
Yeah, just looking at the deck totals. We got 12 cards to 31.
Yep.
The efficiency of Crown of Seeds in Rampart is just mind-boggling. 31 cards to 12 cards in deck. It is mind-boggling.
Oh, this card doesn't block? I'll block for 2. And filter.
And filter.
Yeah. So.
Oh, so good.
I'm no scientist, but I think this one is over.
I don't see any way for Josh. I'm not even sure if you counted up all the red cards in his deck that it would equal 17 damage.
Right.
He's gone through all of his sync belows, so I'm pretty sure he's almost out of defense reactions.
He's probably got 2 shunts in hand. And
I got blue shunts left. There's the heart coming back around to gain him some life. Coming in for 3. I was hearing somebody talk about like the flavor surrounding like Living Legend for Bravo. Like he was supposed to be the star of the show. As in like he was supposed to be busted.
No.
No. It was like he was always intended to be the first Living Legend. That's what they were saying.
No. I think mistakes were made.
I would tend to agree.
All right, we are seeing that blue overpower coming in.
What is this? What does a blue one do? Is it plus?
+4 if reprise is active.
Okay.
Yeah, which it is.
It definitely is. Yep. So he took 4, coming in for 4 on the backside.
Yep. Which all of it will get blocked here. And if it doesn't, what does that mean? Oakenold.
Yeah, we've seen 2 Oakenolds, so there is that third one. at
Don't
large.
think he's going to get Okanalded after having blocked with the green card because I don't think we've cycled back to the pulse yet. But if, yep, that makes more sense.
So Icy Hammer Arsenal. Got it.
Yep. We've seen this before.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yep.
Pretty much all his opponent has to do for the rest of this game.
Does Josh want to get those Dynamos a counter again?
This might be the last time they get used this game. I think he's got one more glint left. Nathan, we have not hit a good matchup for us this evening, have we?
Our Starvo into what did Nom play against?
It was a Briar.
Or
I
no?
forgot.
Yeah.
For Starvo into Alexi's definitely not favorable.
Yeah, was it Viserai and Alexi, Prism into Viserai, and now Starvo into Dorinthia?
Yeah, but I mean, Josh knew that he was unfavored when he walked in. No matter what flipped over.
I think he enjoys the unfavorability. Gives him more bragging rights when he wins.
That's it.
Wait, hold on. Is this gonna? If Josh loses this, is this his first loss in the league?
It is. It'll be his first loss in the league.
I just realized that.
From both seasons. Yep.
Yeah, for both seasons.
Because last season he got the MVP because he went undefeated.
Yeah.
And
Josh
looks
gives
like
up.
that's a concession.
That is a concession. He drew the 4 blue hand and knew it was over.
Yeah.
All right, so here we have Quinn Wongkew beating Josh Lau. This makes the record right now 3-1 for the Hyperloops. There is another game this weekend, I believe it's Saturday, between Joe and Sebastian, and that will be a bit fun because both of them ended up top eight at the Calling in Vegas, I believe. Anyway, it was great having you all here together on our streams. I really enjoyed being able to stream with you all. It was great having all 4 of these games. And to the viewers, I'm just going to thank you all for watching. I'm going to end my stream now. You can probably stick around with the Card Guys for a little longer on their channel, link in the description, if you want to hear them talk about the day. So thanks everybody for watching. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Take care. Happy to have you on with us, Andy.